There's been a lot of excitement about bringing back slavery. It seems like we won't have to. If you steal from a store, instant mandatory prison time. I would do mandatory prison labor, and I would punish the people that wouldn't do it. But I would...
Wait. Did Kafka actually unironically, like, did not 3 hours, but like 5 hours? 5 hours?
Actually be the most pro-freedom president ever. In general, there was a big protest yesterday. People broke into the Capitol building, did all kinds of bad shit. Most reasonable people look at this and view it as a disgrace. This is the Gutex. Is there going to be civil unrest today? It is about as close to a call to violence as possible. That is almost verbatim what Aragorn has said in Lord of the Rings in Helm's Deep. There's a lot of people out there that get left behind by the system. You know, they get themselves into these like real deep conspiracy theories, right? Some people find Jesus. Some people find Alex Jones, some people find Antifa, but the end result of all of these things is dogmatic behavior. It's a vicious cycle where like you get crazier and then more people don't want to talk to you, and more people don't want to talk to you, so you get crazier, and then more people don't want to talk to you because you're even crazier, and then you get even crazier than that. I think anybody who stepped foot inside that Capitol building yesterday should be charged. There is a process to changing how things are. Is it right to kill terrorists? Not without a trial. You don't just shoot people randomly.
Oh my god, old Asmongold was so fucking based. Holy shit.
Who determines who a terrorist is? The person with the gun? What happens when they're...
Dude, can you imagine? Oh yeah, who's allowed to, like, are you allowed to execute terrorists? Not without a trial. Where was this Asmongold? Where did this guy go?
You ever think about this? We have a system for dealing with people that break the law and are threats to society. Use the fucking system.
Man, I'm ready for this movie. This is literally a fucking movie.
I don't even know where to begin with how to describe Asmongold to someone who's never heard of him, the dead rat he used as an alarm clock, or the fact that he's one of the biggest streamers in the world, likely because of the mindset that would use a dead rat as an alarm clock and freely admit to it. I will say that if it weren't for his politics, he'd probably be the platonic ideal of a streamer. Someone who can spend hours a day enthusiastically yapping about anything, but mainly video games. In a similar experience to reconnecting with an old friend. But then you hear the political takes and it becomes less like reconnecting and more like getting cornered at the high school reunion. Still, the man dominates in the streaming space with 2.2 million followers on Twitch, 30,000 concurrent viewers, and over 4 million subscribers on YouTube, despite never really changing up his core format, where some streamers will grow into new settings, bigger guests, more production value, fancier shot callers. Asmongold's brief expansions have found him ultimately reverting back to his starting point. What bits of Asmongold I've encountered myself are the clips that get passed around on social media, so I want to see whether they were a good representation of what he actually believes.
I will say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.
Or if he's just been taken out of context all this time. And so, I watched his streams for a week, and I'm going to tell you what I learned. And if you enjoy my suffering, please subscribe to my Patreon, no obligation. Starting in 2026, I'm going to start providing more rewards there than just the opportunity to give me money, which I do greatly appreciate.
We all think that. We do gambling for our life? Oh, yeah, but no sponsorships
Another
here,
day, huh? Another fucking day.
We begin where we'll end, in Asmongold's attic, and much like the Shel Silverstein poem, though the house is dark and shuttered, I can see someone inside looking out.
Oh. Oh, God. Oh, shit. Come here, name a VTuber without the letter B. Iron Mouse, literally in 1 second. Yeah, Iron Mouse, Fillion, Silvervale. Who is this retard? Anyway, it's gotta just be engagement bait, right? It just pissed me off. I saw it, right? Well, that's true. Yeah, being fat is disgusting. But, you know, unfortunately, Twitch doesn't agree with me.
If you were looking for some kind of filter between...
I won't judge you. I'll be honest, okay? I'll be honest. Friendly. Okay, like, I'll be honest. I think that Mutin should have took the gambling deal, okay? If you're in a position where $300,000 is life-changing money, you should take it. If 300,000 isn't... Listen, morals is for people who are rich enough to have morals, okay? Morals are for people who are rich enough to have morals, okay? If you're not rich, I assume Mutin is not the same as Dan, okay? Dan, look, Dan is evil, okay? Bro doesn't need the sponsorship, but he took it, okay? He wants to take it, all right, it seems. But he doesn't need it. He doesn't need to survive. Come on. But, hey, you know.
Mouth and the mind.
That's gonna be
better
clipped.
horse,
Let's
you're in the wrong
go!
place. Probably should have warned you earlier, but,
When do we boycott Twitch? I mean, you are right now. there are millions of dollars that get evaporated from Twitch because they have to pay for my web
Yeah,
hosting.
I'll take that
It's surprising
300K
to
in an
find out
instant.
it's true that the web hosting for a
No
major
need to
streamer is
think.
this expensive.
What the fuck?
However, that's a cost Twitch definitely understands and accepts, given that they've had more than one opportunity to drop Asmongold, and CEO Dan Clancy has a well-known deference for Hassan, who's on the opposite end of the political spectrum. In the lead-up to talking about Hassan's China trip, Asmon watches a video about a fancy Huawei laptop,
If you search 1989, it explodes.
which seg
If you're gonna cover my convo with Pisco, thank you. I will, yeah. Also, sorry in advance to you and your chat for having to watch it. No, we're used to the ping. Like, that's what we cover. Kaka, you should donate to the stream. Please, please, I love you, please. Look, I'm sure whatever it is, you would do a good job, okay?
segues into a conversation about his broader view of capitalism.
So the U.S. doesn't practice free market capitalism? Wait, no, of course we don't. Like, I mean, not in an ultimate sense. Why would anybody? Oh God, it's a dishonest retard. I don't even want to read it. It's gonna make me mad. If you don't have a regulated free market, you won't have a free market. You're gonna have a few guys that get in control of it, and then now they're the regulators. Why do you think that we have to have?
Oh my God! Wait, hold on. When was this? Wait, when the fuck was this? Was this recently? Because he's right, right? Like he's just straight up correct here. Anyway.
A rule against monopolies? Do we have to have a rule against, selling products for free? No, we don't really have a law against that because it's not business. It's not business efficient to do that.
There are rules against setting prices too low because companies seeking to create a monopoly can just starve out competition.
I didn't really get a lot of sleep last night, if you want me to be honest, so I'm probably having a few misfires. I want the Chinese government to get obliterated. Well, then you should hope for the Chinese people to do that. Only the people can hold their government accountable, right? You know, we can't go and change it and then assume that it's going to get better, right?
Tucker Carlson's morning newsletter mentions Hassan's trip to China.
Uh-oh.
Also, when is Kafka coming into chat? He has perms, but he has never gone into chat once. I love him. I think he hates me.
Oh, look who it is. It's speak English, right? So it's just electric talk.
Asmon actually calls it out as disingenuous.
This is right-wing stuff that's disingenuous in the same way that Hassan can be about left-wing stuff. Don't defend Hassan. I'm not defending Hassan. I'm just defending what I think is true. And I think that if you have to attack people based off of things that aren't true, maybe the reason is because you're actually wrong. I think that sometimes people like to misinterpret things intentionally and then get mad at them for that.
The president of Syria and ex-Al-Qaeda member Abu Muhammad al-Jawlani met with President Trump at the White House.
No, Asmongold was more correct back in the day, like way more.
You know,
correct.
they say keep your friends close and your enemies closer. And apparently that's what's happening. This is crazy. This guy is a head-chopping ISIS guy. Everybody has, a rough past, right? I mean, things happen. I think it'd be nice if we just didn't have an endless war with the Middle East. And if that means we got to invite a few head choppers over to the White House, that is what it is.
This is pretty racist, but you're probably not going to convince anyone that it is, given that Jawlani and members of his government have actually overseen executions.
It's cheap.
He's edgy,
you gotta buy
but...
him food, like that's it.
Okay, but that actually is racist. A lady at a wrestling show got mad at one of the wrestlers, leading to her getting forced away by him.
Fat Karen versus a big-ass dude. There is no need to be going around and touching people. You don't need to be doing that. You can't understand the mind of a fat person. It just doesn't, there's no logic to it, right? It's just, it's probably, maybe he had food. Maybe she thought he had food or something.
The fat jokes are going to be a frequent occurrence. You will not be spared. Someone posted a meme in Asmongold's subreddit about Sydney Sweeney's jeans ad, if you recall that controversy.
Yeah, I don't know how this happened. This was so stupid.
But that's not important. What is important is Asmongold's perspective on intelligence related to someone's susceptibility to manipulation.
So it's easy to take advantage of a middle intelligence person, and it's harder to take advantage of a smart person, and it's also harder to take advantage of a dumb person. And they never question themselves, and anything that reaffirms what they already believe about themselves, they will instantly agree with it, right? And so because of that, you can prey on people's biases, and you can take advantage of them that way.
Depends on how you qualify it, but generally speaking, there's no level of intelligence that immunizes from being taken advantage of or scammed, and there's evidence to say that being smarter would actually make it more likely. I want you to hold this in your mind as we go along.
And smart people can do that too.
That's wild. I wonder what's the explanation for that. I mean, smarter people are more likely to be scammed. Why? Is it because people are too dumb to interpret what scams are, or how does it work?
They can, but
it must be studied.
I think that with big groups like Reddit, it's very easy to do that because of the groupthink that it kind of reinforces. And I think that's what happens in a lot of cases.
Some news about the LGBT
over
community in China.
self-confidence,
Apple
positive low
removes
regard.
two gay dating apps in China. I've always said this, and I'll say it again. Every company, all they do is they make money. China hates gays. Well, I mean, I'm not sure. I don't know if they hate gays, but my understanding is that they're not, as progressive as necessarily we are.
The Chinese government is getting worse about gay rights, even as the people are slowly becoming more accepting.
I never even think about whether a guy is gay or not, right? I mean, I don't know. Maybe that's weird, but it just never even comes into my fucking my orbit of thinking. Right? Yeah, who cares? Yeah, who gives a shit?
Steam announced new hardware for 2026.
A big black box. Yes, exactly. And what we have here is a small black box.
You know who else has a big black box? Cherry. Oh my God! Stop! That's too far.
Dreams come true. My best advice is not to buy one of these necessarily.
That was horrible. I'm sorry.
It's to build your own. And my best advice for people that are buying their own, there are 2 things not to skimp out on. Don't skimp out on your power supply, and don't skimp out on your motherboard.
I should have said that. I'm sorry.
But I think this is good advice. Someone made a dating sim and included Asmon as a character.
Okay.
I have forbidden you to wash your hair.
What?
I do not wish to see what little hair that remains get washed away.
Are you kidding me?
I'm tired.
Who did this? Sounds nothing like you. That's okay. I mean, again, I don't really care, okay?
And then he gets to a post about someone fanficking Hollow Knight characters.
You have no idea how much
Tell me
intrusive
that you
thoughts
have
I have.
issues with your sexuality.
I have
without
OCD,
telling
okay?
me, well, actually, you are telling me that you have issues with your sexuality. What a weirdo. Like, putting all these sexualities on different characters in a video game, this is one of the really weird things that, like, a lot of these, like, gender warriors do, is that they try to rewrite everything to include themselves. Whitewashing? Well, I'd say this is rainbow washing.
I'm sure Asmon won't do something just like this before the end of the week.
I mean, I don't think anybody cares about this kind of stuff, right? The people that do are kind of weirdos. What's next? Smurfette is trans. You'd really be surprised.
Matthew McConaughey and My Cocaine apparently pulled an Ariel and sold their voices to an AI company in exchange for human legs. And Asmon takes it as an opportunity to talk about people on Twitter who dislike AI.
There's like a few weirdos on Twitter that are like constantly at war with AI, and they think that somehow they're going to win. AI is inevitable. Here's how you know that there are only a few people that actually care. That's how you know. It's because you don't listen to what people say, you listen to what they do.
I think this is an imperfect argument because it assumes people playing know it uses AI and that people who oppose AI have equally absolute opinions about it.
Never, because people are retarded. They're going to say things they don't really believe. They're going to say the way that they think should be, the way they think things should be, rather than the way they are. AI is a massively positive and massively popular thing, and don't let a handful of furries on social media convince you otherwise.
A Moroccan immigrant in Portugal mugged someone, which is proof that Europe is being overtaken by criminal foreigners who all need to be removed.
I would never want to go to Europe to vacation.
Europe.
And the reason why is that the police don't protect you.
The murder rates in every European country are drastically lower than in the United States, and overall crime has trended downward the last 2 decades.
So yeah, that's Africa, brother. I mean, like, well...
And Asmongold misses someone doing a racism.
What was it? Morocco? Morocco is like, yeah, that's in Africa. It's at the top of Africa. Yeah, that's in Europe, bro. Like, what do you mean? Poland I would go to, okay?
He watches a video about China making robots.
I mean, we are obviously going to make robot slaves that do our activities at home for us. And I think that's a good thing, by the way. This is a great thing. Now, instead of... because we won't have to bring back slavery. A lot of people have been talking. There's been a lot of excitement about bringing back slavery.
Who said that?
It seems like we won't have to because we're going to have robots instead. And I don't know what we're going to do with all those people. Maybe we'll just have we're just going to kill them.
And a clip of people making Lord of the Rings jokes about racial crime statistics.
Orcs only make up 13%.
No. Hey, I didn't say it, okay?
Meme the other day where it was like, the Shire's losing population. Should the hobbits more? Should we import goblins?
And that allows me to segue into a story about actual immigration. Greece is trying to test immigrants to confirm their ages. One aspect of it, which supersedes the others, is a wrist x-ray that doctors have criticized as having up to a 2-year margin of error. And opting out automatically lists you as an adult. So there's no way to know if these numbers are accurate.
What the fuck? Only 10 were actually kids? Ugh. So that means they're going to end up being sent to a high school with kids and they're an adult?
Only if they're going to star in a CW show.
It's always like that? Yeah, that's why you can't let them in. You shouldn't let them in. I say it all the time. I don't know why they do that. And to appear not racist? Yeah, I guess so.
And now we've reached Hassan in China. Police Story is such a good movie, you guys. Lonerbox gives the consensus opinion here.
How moronic do you have to be to go to China, a country that you're clearly planning on doing propaganda for, to get your narrative contradicted on fucking day one where some cops come up to...
Oh, God. That's what happens. You can never be wrong. And when you can never be wrong, you end up never being...
Yeah, I mean... I wonder what Lonerbox thinks of Asmongold. Good question.
Right.
Hold on to that one, because it's time for Trump and Epstein, with the emails released by Democrats after the government shutdown ended.
Dean Weathers says the new Epstein story is 100 times bigger than Watergate. That's way bigger.
Asmon's perspective is that Trump is in the wrong, but he probably didn't do anything, but both parties are bad, and the emails Democrats released are misleading,
That's
which means
way
Trump is bad,
bigger.
But he
Okay, thanks.
If that sounded confusing, let me massage your brain until it is comfortably smooth. Asmon says he's willing to believe that Trump is implicated in Epstein's crimes if there's evidence, but he's not willing to accept the evidence. Here's Asmon's reaction to the revelation that Trump spent time with the victim at Epstein's home for several hours.
That doesn't mean that he knew that the person was a victim at all. Like, just because you interact with somebody that was a victim doesn't mean that you know the details of what happened to them.
Trump in this email, a quote, dog that hasn't barked by Democrats on House oversight.
It's interesting that he agrees with the release of the emails as a tactic to pressure Trump to release the files, even as he doubts their legitimacy.
I'm glad this came out, even though I think that there's a high probability that it could be fake, misleading, or misunderstood, or misinterpreted. Yeah, I think they should release everything completely unredacted besides victims' names and obviously photographs photographs that could be problematic. Oh, it could make somebody look bad? Too bad. You shouldn't have gone to an
It's like
island
a
with a
locale
pedophile.
log?
But like if you know who the victims are, you know who the survivors are.
Well, I mean, he is
you
a
word
locale,
filter
right?
search the name Trump, right? Can't you just do that for the victims and then just omit those two?
The process of redaction is much more intensive to guarantee there's no way to retrieve information that's removed through various recovery techniques in the paper and the data.
I don't think there's hard evidence that commits Trump to doing anything weird with Epstein. If there was, I think they would have already released it. And if there is, I think that there is as much, if not more, hard evidence against Democrats doing it too. So coping so hard? Well, I'm not coping. I'm just being logical. I don't care. If Trump was in the Epstein files, I would want to know about it. My conspiracy theory is that I think that both parties have a piece of the Epstein files. And because of that, they don't want to release.
This is advanced propaganda, by the way. Anytime anybody makes an equivalency between the two and tries to muddle the waters like that, it's like, it is advanced propaganda, okay? Just like Chinese advanced propaganda, it's the same thing.
Because I think there is a third party. My opinion is that the most likely candidates for that third party are Israel, China, Russia, in that order, that have the entire Epstein files. And if these files are released in a partial amount, they will then be released by this foreign third party in their entirety.
It's always Israel.
What?
At this point, no, I don't think I'll ever actually be numb to that.
These mails are nothing new. They were already released in 2024.
These emails were not released in 2024. Separate info from the Epstein case was ordered unsealed by a judge in 2023 related to a Ghislaine Maxwell defamation case, but did not contain much information not already known to the public.
Virginia Jeffrey has testified multiple times that President Trump did nothing, and she never even saw him at Epstein's house.
Additionally, Greg Price, whose Twitter he's looking at here, is a conservative journalist who got in trouble in 2022 for editing the audio of John Fetterman in his Senate debate to make his ability to speak sound worse, which is the exact same criticism Asman has of these emails for their redactions.
So it's bullshit? Wait, what? You can tell that he's lying by his eyebrows. Like some merchant or something like that that's going to sell you snake oil. I don't understand. It's obviously not a White House cover-up. I mean, was Biden covering it up for 4 years?
Biden wasn't covering up the case. The case was still open for Ghislaine Maxwell's trial until her last appeal was denied in October of 2025. He did not have the authority to intercede in the case to reveal the evidence, and doing so could have given Maxwell grounds for an appeal.
I mean, what are we talking about, a White House cover-up? I mean, if anything, I feel like Trump is really kind of a piece of shit. It's like if you can't even find any evidence of Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew, like why are you going and dragging their name in the mud by saying this if you can't even prove it? That's crazy. The problem is that we can all sit around and theorize on a reason, but we don't really know what the reason is. That's the truth. Nobody really knows. And I think that's why nobody trusts him.
There's a difference between the standard of evidence to convict someone of a crime and the standard necessary to recognize with reasonable certainty that until exonerating evidence emerges, the most likely explanation is the correct one. I doubt Asman would...
Will Asmongold ever watch this? Yeah, he'll watch it, but probably in private, so then he'll know whether or not he wants to watch it in public, okay?
say that O.J. Simpson didn't kill two people just because the glove didn't fit.
Oh, shit.
Asmongold reads the GOP Oversight Committee's Twitter response to the Democrats and uses their reasoning to dismiss the emails.
So they released something that was already unredacted, and then they re-redacted it again, and they're trying to think that it's new. Are you seriously? Oh my god, it's a clown show? Yeah, there's no way. Like,
and the fix is in.
If you are intentionally redacting a name that was previously unredacted...
Don't you unironically support genocide? For what? I mean, it really depends on what you're talking about.
Publicly. You're doing that because you're trying to mislead people.
I'm going to put a pretty big if at the start of this just because I might be misinterpreting what I've seen, and this isn't about the victim herself, but what Asmongold is saying about these emails. If I've read what Virginia Giuffre has said correctly, she claims to have only interacted with Trump at Mar-a-Lago when she was employed there, and a couple of times at parties, and said nothing bad happened between them. However, the emails released suggest that she talked with Trump for hours at Epstein's home, which would contradict her testimony. Giuffre isn't alive to correct the record, but if Democrats were willing to lie as Asmon suggests, it would be to their benefit to leave the name unredacted, as it would undercut the testimony frequently cited to say that Trump did nothing wrong. But they didn't, at the wishes of the family who have condemned Republicans for revealing her identity and not Democrats for being dishonest. I won't speak to the rest of the sexual assault accusations against Trump, because even if they relate to the broader context of Trump's relationship with Epstein and how you should interpret these emails overall, I think that might widen the focus too.
Zip just said you deserve to be banned today on Destiny stream to pander to DG. Yeah, I don't believe that.
Too much from what these initially released emails say specifically.
Also, not only that, if that ever happened, then I would have like 50 trillion people like linking me that. So good try, okay?
I think people aren't really understanding what happened here. The victim might be afraid. She's dead. She said that she didn't have any problems with Trump and Trump was fine. She went on record and said that.
Again, these emails contradict her testimony, not the other way around.
So the reason why they redacted her name is because if they didn't redact her name, it would have shown, obviously, that this is the person that had already cleared Trump of wrongdoing.
And again, it would have been more beneficial for Democrats to leave the name unredacted, but they did it anyway per the wishes of the family.
Why is Trump not releasing all of it? I think that is a great question. That is an incredible, amazing, great question, and I think people should be asking that all the time.
Asmon will not consider whether this conclusion might be based on where he gets his news from.
How do you solve this problem with the corruption? You don't. The reality is that this problem will probably never go away.
And that is why you shouldn't try to better your life, because you might fail, so it's easier to frown!
We will find out the nature of the Epstein files when we are on Social Security, if Social Security still exists by then.
You must all go and spread the word of frowning!
Because this is never going to go away until everybody that was involved, and everybody who was even involved secondarily, is dead.
Pretty soon, everyone will embrace sadness, and there'll be no such thing as smiling!
And I think even then, we won't really know what happened. And do you not feel bad for telling people to vote for him? No. No, he's done a lot of things that I agree with. And he's also done things that I disagree with.
I feel so exasperated watching this because it feels like I should be trying to convince Asmongold to change his mind about these things. But if he comes away from hearing about these emails still thinking that Trump is preferable as the most powerful person in the world, I don't know what else I could say.
But I think that both of them are inadequate
You don't
candidates.
say anything.
That's why I didn't vote for either one of them. Even though I am much more aligned with Trump, that doesn't mean that I totally agree with Trump.
Wait. So Asmongold didn't vote, or did he vote for the Libertarian Party or some shit?
I just view him as the lesser of two evils.
So Asmon thinks that Trump is the lesser of two evils. What would Asmon actually want if he were president?
I would want to use the military to deport every illegal alien in the country. I would want to bring back insane asylums and put crazy people in insane asylums. And I would reduce foreign aid by about 80%. Maybe not 100%. The goal would be 100%, but the beginning would be 80%. I would
How would you even find them? Like, we're just talking about realistically here. Like, what's the logistics here of trying to deport like 14 million people? 14 million, was it 20 million, like, undocumented people? Holy shit.
Completely remove
you want to try doing that? I mean, I guess good luck. Okay. I mean, it'll be a project across multiple decades.
Census as well.
Illegal aliens are on the census because otherwise resources would get misallocated and areas with illegal immigrants wouldn't receive enough to provide for those with legal status either.
I would even take people that were residents of the country. If they were not net positive taxpayers and they were not performing an essential job, I'd deport them too.
This would basically trap immigrants already in America.
Undocumented immigrants are net positive, okay? Now, you can disagree with that, you can not disagree with that, it doesn't really matter, but generally speaking, illegal immigrants are net positive for the economy, okay? I mean, otherwise, how would they contribute, like, what is it, $16 million or something to Social Security? Hi. What? What about my renegade? Okay, no response, I guess.
In their jobs, leading to greater abuse, while also being ignorant of historical data that shows immigrants yield greater returns on their labor than what they cost to take care of.
Oh, I'd add 2 additional tax brackets for people that are wealthy, for people that are making above $5 and $10 million.
That is a good idea.
Oh, I would double the amount of the money that we put on policing.
Functionally useless, but it'd probably feel nice. The issues with policing aren't directly correlated to funding. They're related to excessive force, corruption, and overall relationship with the population they are entrusted with.
If you steal from a store,
Misaki, play with me, please.
Instant mandatory prison time. Even if you stole a paintbrush. I don't want to live in a world where people steal. I don't want to live in a world where there's violence, hostility, aggression, and turmoil. So just put them in jail.
Oh, wow, good job, Asmongold. You really solved it. Oh my god. Wait, you guys know the graph? You know the graph where after somebody figures out something, the crime rate drops to 0? That's Asmongold, okay? I'm at work? Okay, you're fine. Like, the moment that Asmongold suggests something, the crime rate drops to 0. It's like the graph goes all the way down.
Simple. I would make it to where every prisoner had an extended sentence by about 30 to 50%, and they could work in prison to reduce their sentence that got increased back down to what it was if they wanted to work in prison. And I would do mandatory prison labor, and I would punish the people that wouldn't do it.
This is a violation of the 8th Amendment for cruel and unusual punishment, the 13th Amendment because it's not punishment for the crime they're in prison for, the 14th Amendment because it's a violation of due process, probably the 5th Amendment for double jeopardy, the 9th Amendment just because it's fun, and the 10th Amendment because this isn't a power specifically given by the Constitution to the president, unless in this hypothetical he managed to get this through Congress.
Would you be president? Would you be authoritarian? I mean, I think people would say that I was, but I would actually be the most pro-freedom president ever. Wouldn't reducing the root problems that result in people stealing prevent people from stealing instead of just adding more people to the prison industrial complex, which is designed to make them repeat offenders? Well, they wouldn't have a chance to be repeat offenders because they'd be stuck in jail forever working. And if they're a repeat offender, that's great. Now we have another worker.
I guess we know who was excited about bringing back slavery then.
The idea that poverty causes this to happen is a complete removal of an
individual's
individual's agency.
slavery.
If you
Yeah,
give
we
people
know
more
that.
opportunities and
He's
more
also okay
abilities
with
to do things and have a
genocide,
degree of
like,
ownership in their own
unironically,
life,
I
then
think.
yeah, there are going to be less crimes. So I agree with you, but there will still be crimes after that goes away because there are people that commit crimes that do have money too. After all, people, universal healthcare? Yeah, we'd have universal healthcare because we'd get rid of all the people that are causing problems.
People causing problems, the way Asmongold implies, are not the main impedance to universal healthcare. These ideas contradict each other. You can't create a society without violence and turmoil while aggressively enforcing laws with maximum punishment. You simultaneously need a populace willing to go along with and enforce that system, which creates the dehumanization that leads to greater violence. All the while, they need to bear the increased cost of social services that would face more strain from fewer people being able to pay into it.
Did you ever steal previously? Yeah, I've stolen tons of things. And you know why? It's because I knew I wouldn't get in trouble. Better social services? Yeah, absolutely. I'd give people food stamps.
That's Jason
We'd give
Bourne?
people,
Wait, really? That's what
I
he
would invest
said?
a lot into...
Wait, he actually said Jesus Christ, that's Jason Bourne? When I was like pulling with my Renegade? Oh my God, I feel so validated.
They will reduce a number of different industries that are massively, like, I think, a tax burden.
I have no idea why Asmongold thinks this. Maybe there's some logic to it I'm not seeing.
Do you steal when you were an adult? Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, multiple times. Tons of times.
Okay. To be honest, though, this is a very expensive Renegade, okay? Just to be very clear, all right? This Renegade is like a almost fully upgraded Renegade. Like, I mean, sure, we can probably attach some all-purple attachments or some shit like that, but this is Renegade 4 with a purple attachment on it as well. So I am risking a lot, okay? If I lose this Renegade, I think I might actually Kermit Minecraft in Roblox, okay?
Wait, but then why?
How about social parasites? Citizens can be freeloaders too. There are going to be social parasites, and there are going to be useless eaters, and there are going to be retards. And you know what? That's fine. We're always going to get some of those. That's the way it goes. How would you build up universal income? By taxing corporations that utilize a tremendous amount of automation and then making them have to help pay for it. And if they don't want to get along with that, then I wouldn't give them access to the American economy and I would heavily tariff them.
Why would they automate when they could just use cheap prison labor in that case? And why would the...
Bro, I swear to God, dude, Asmongold is like the, he's like the 16-year-old who thinks that he figured out all the problems in society. Like, he's like, I got it, okay? It's so easy to fix all of these issues, okay? If only everybody just listened to me, then we would fix
The American
everything.
market be so valuable at that point when the population is spending so much more of its wealth and resources on maintaining the strict social systems that are implemented.
I have a lot of other ones that are, some of them are a little bit more not stream
But I thought that would crash.
I am incredibly worried about what those could be. But I guess it makes sense given his response to a TikTok compilation of women losing their jobs in the next video he watches.
Total Karen obliteration. Absolute Karen destruction.
These aren't Karens by any
Dude,
stretch
why
of the
would he
definition.
say this?
All they've
Oh
done
my
is
God,
say
he's
they
so
lost their
cringe.
jobs. Actually, I don't know what Asmongold's definition of a Karen is. Later on, he explains the attitude that makes
It's
someone
just
a
white
Karen,
woman.
but he'll still apply the moniker to basically every woman that crosses his screen in an unflattering way.
I think that there's a lot of people in these PR, marketing, and fake jobs at these companies, and the companies are starting to realize, hey, wait a minute, we don't need to pay this girl to come here and drink boba tea for 8 hours and then complain that somebody said something
who
that made her
the
mad.
fuck is drinking boba tea?
As Asmongold will come to understand over the course of this video, that is incredibly not what's happening.
Elon Musk.
Wait, you really think women are gonna be like drinking boba tea that often? Bro, like more than half of women in the United States have an eating disorder and they're probably allergic to food. All right, ain't nobody drinking boba tea except for like fucking ABGs who somehow stay skinny all the fucking time, even though they drink an infinite amount of boba tea. And like guys, all right, who are like morbidly obese and they're like slurping on that fucking fat straw. All right, the boba ball is going down their throat really fatly, okay, in a way that is very, very fat. All right. Oh shit. Pull. Done. Oh shit! Oh hell no! Come on. Come on. Sorry.
Took over Twitter, fired 80% of the staff, and nothing changed to the product. In fact, I think the
Where's
product's
my
got better.
fucking
Twitter did not
heels?
get better. Monetization of posts has created an incentive structure for people to post the most salacious rage bait possible, like the one Asmon got caught in earlier, in order to get more views.
It just pissed me off. I saw it, right?
Musk has had the website intentionally altered when it doesn't give him enough attention, or it corrects his unsubstantiated claims. For example, when he said Joe Biden stranded an astronaut on the International Space Station. Also, Musk himself has said that he would unban at least 2 accounts that were removed due to posting CSAM.
Every single other business owner in the world saw it. It's bot crazy now. YouTube is bot crazy too, but YouTube didn't fire 80% of its staff. So is Facebook.
This is where it starts to sink in what's actually happening.
So 13 million people have been laid off in America. How many people are in the U.S. workforce? 10%. Oh my God. A little bit less, but still. Holy shit. The reality is that these decisions are made in order to maximize shareholder value.
That is true to an extent. The priorities and obligations of corporate boards are to seek greater returns on investment, but the goal of a CEO and the goals of a corporation are not always in complete alignment. The average tenure of a CEO does not match the average lifespan of a company, so the goal is to maximize the amount of money they have by the time the CEO leaves, which means that they can ignore long-term strategy in pursuit of short-term gains.
Oh, that's not good. Why did I do that?
For example of this, see the 2008 financial crisis.
People that work in Amazon fulfillment centers, that's probably the least fulfilling job that you could ever have. People take these jobs because they have to, not because they want to.
Yes, but eliminating the job doesn't solve the problem of a person needing a job. It's just reducing their options.
They're trying to plot a trajectory for where their business is going to be. So right now, it's doing some people's jobs, and later on, it's going to be doing everybody's jobs. Or more people's jobs.
And again, as Asmongold is about to see, they aren't just letting go of people who don't do anything.
A perfect example of this that we saw earlier this year was when Microsoft let go of Ron Buckton.
That's right. They fired because they didn't need him.
Suddenly discovered to be...
I mean, if there's anything like that's indicative of Asmongold's like behavior, right? Like he makes fun of people who are poor and broke, but at the same time, he's been poor and broke before. And he says, oh, don't ever blame somebody who is broke and poor. Meanwhile, he makes fun of them all the time, right? Like a lot of people who are fat, right, which he also makes fun of, are like people who are poor because they don't have good access to like nutritious food. They have access to KFC though, right? Also, a lot of the time, if they're working, like they don't have access, they don't have time to cook food. They don't have time to prepare food, right? I don't know, like his own arguments doesn't even agree with themselves. Like, yeah, he doesn't even, his own arguments are inconsistent with themselves. Like even in the modern day, like they make no sense, but.
A slacker after 18 years of promotions? Or is it that executives looked at a spreadsheet, saw his senior level salary, and decided that number was too big?
I do think that, like, I mean, to be fair, like, I'm in general in favor of AI, but I do think they're probably overshooting and probably firing too many people too quickly. But I think that the inevitability of this is not to be denied.
Earlier this week, that was talking about the fact that last year there were
I remember seeing, like, a chart somewhere of, like, a correlation between wealth and exercise and types of exercise. And I remember seeing something like, apparently, see, those 24,000 Renegade 4, but I think I remember seeing like rich people jog a lot more than poor people. That makes sense. They probably wake up in the morning, go and jog, all right, before starting their workday in their own fucking mansion, right? That makes sense to me. I don't think I've ever seeing a poor person jog for exercise. I don't think that's a thing. Now that I think about it, it makes perfect sense. Yeah.
0.2 million graduates.
But then guess what? Something like, I think maybe something like biking was the most common for a poor person because it like they're like what? Biking to work? I'm not entirely sure. I'm sorry. I forgot. Okay. I'm sorry. I just legitimately forgot. If you wake up at 4 a.m., you'll be rich. Most doctors and surgeons seem to wake up at around 6 a.m. 5 a.m. They wake up at around 4 a.m. to 5 a.m. and they get to the hospital or the surgery room at 6 a.m. And by 6 a.m., they're already like super like awake. Like by the time they're in the, it's pretty crazy to be honest. Like, yeah, they are extremely early risers. Yeah.
For 17,000 jobs.
Then why the fuck do we keep importing people?
Without validating the premise of his description, because that's not how immigration works, put simply, expanding the population isn't a zero-sum substitution of laborers. The necessities of immigrants provide the demand for new services that allow companies and social programs to grow their customer base and funding.
I woke up at 4 a.m., 5 a.m. for work, 6 hours.
That would sit there with a screwdriver and screw a bolt into a tire and get paid the equivalent of $75 an hour. Live in a beautiful house, have every benefit that he wanted, have a family that he supported,
2 cars and the boat and go on vacations.
This is what happens when propaganda is too effective. This belief is based on the visualizations used in ad campaigns, merging with stories of expanded workers' rights. Things got better, but the reason we have that imagery is because that's what people aspire to. If they already had it, it wouldn't work in advertising.
What do we do about it? Well, you have to tax companies that are using automation in a way that, you know, you can redistribute the money into the population. But like, it's not going to happen. I think we're going to have to bring back somehow like slavery or something like that. Like, I don't know, maybe feudalism. It's one or the other. Maybe both. Or you could have a plague.
Oh.
Maybe all 3.
And once that's done, we can finally eradicate all the Puerto Ricans of the planet!
Very
Wall Street
edgy.
literally rewards human suffering. And some
Well, yeah, of course. There's a lot of money you can make off of.
Talks about he criticizes Wall Street and wants to bring back slavery.
People being sick.
of you may own.
I went into the fucking the oncology place. I felt like I was walking into the Hilton fucking hotel with my dad. He got pancreatic cancer. And I walk in there, I say, oh, there ain't no way they're curing this shit.
It's not like that as a show of wealth. It's because cancer treatment is awful and treatment centers try to make things as comfortable as possible for what minimal relief it can provide.
She is right about everything, and it doesn't matter. Nobody knows how to think. Everybody is going to be turned into a battery, and that's just the way it's going to be.
I'm not sure how to square Asmon believing in AI as something that's good for humanity, while also seeing it as something that will help facilitate the destruction of people's general happiness.
I think that if things keep going the way that they do, we are going to have a eugenic effect of the lowest IQ people literally die because they can't take care of themselves. No way, ChatGPT will take care of them.
Eugenic
It will
effect?
tell them, no, you don't want a soda today. You want to drink bleach. And they'll be like, really? Okay, all right.
And as you can see from the smiling mask behind Asmongold's head, the next video he watches is an anti-Semitic right-wing nutjob. And I don't mean that as an insult, I mean in his video about the Inquisition, he asserts anti-Semitic conspiracy theories. You can check out this guy's video if you want a full breakdown, telling us why the Crusades, which killed millions of innocent people, were good.
Oh, that's Saladin.
Actually, because at least it was in the name of defeating Muslims.
Ridley Scott, the director of the film, is an atheist, so we can see why he deliberately decided to portray things this way. The events are held as a staple of why we need separation of church and state.
Asmon can recognize that it's propaganda, but much like Hassan, he basically leans into it anyway.
By 900 AD, Islam had expanded, by conquest, all the way to France and southern Italy.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
They turned the Mediterranean into an unsafe hellhole. This crashed the European economy and made—
Wait, so you're telling me that all the way back then, they were going out and fucking with boats? And now they're still going out fucking with boats? 1,000 years. Been dealing with these guys fucking with boats.
According to the UN, an estimated 32,000 people have died since 2014 trying to reach Europe by boat.
Islam's so-called Golden Age came at Europe and Christianity's expense. This is the true reason that many consider the years 600 AD to 1000 AD a dark age for Europe.
The label Dark Ages is a misnomer based on the premise of this period in history not having a significant number of written records, which in itself is also not true.
Here's how historian John J. O'Neill describes the circumstances.
John J. O'Neill is not a historian. I couldn't find any actual mention of him on the internet outside of the ebook PaxTube is citing here. Oh boy, burning cross imagery.
Who's controlling Jerusalem right now? I actually don't even know.
Hassan doesn't know what the Western Wall is, but Asmongold doesn't even know where it is.
Jewish people have it now. Israel has it now. So all this was for fucking nothing. I'm sorry, but like, I cannot get over the irony of the Muslims and the Christians fucking fought and killed each other over Jerusalem for like 1,000 years, and now the Jews have it. Neither of us have it. It's the Jews that have it now. But I do think that it seems like the Crusade.
I mean, I will say it's ironic. I mean, but I don't think he is an especially deep diver in history. You know what I mean?
We're not a universal, like one-dimensional moral evil. I think that seems to be the case.
Nope, millions died. The threat to individual people on the ground does not justify the actions undertaken in the name of conquest and empire by kings and popes. Lastly, Asmon gets triggered by a video game review.
Eurogamer is totally captured by identity politics and progressive values. And all these people are losing their jobs, and we're going to send them all back to McDonald's. All of these different media companies, they are all biased. None of them should be trusted. The only people you should trust are individual YouTube creators, and even them you should take with a massive grain of salt, even including me. I said there's never a book in cursive. I don't need to read that. But I never read books either.
It was the same thing you were talking earlier, where like people grind for games because they don't have anything else going on in real life.
And that was just day one.
Bro, it's not just with a grain of salt. It's like if the Sahara Desert was like made completely out of salt. I'm taking Asmongold with like an overdose of like potassium chloride. Okay, I don't know, like to the point where rampant severe dehydration happens and I just lay there and die. Okay, that's how I'm taking Asmongold advice.
Silver 2 to Silver 1, I was like, oh fuck yeah, dude, I'm so sick. I'm killing it in real life.
You feel like you're not wasting your time.
Exactly.
Like there is no better feeling than to play video games all day and to go to bed and know you did something. And I felt that way a lot, but the problem was for me, is I turned like 27 because I was like, man, I've been doing this for like 10 years nonstop, and my
can't believe that all of these people are older than me. Of all things, they're older than me. I can't believe it. Sometimes I just have such a hard time believing it because I'm like, there's absolutely no way these people are older than me. And then once in a while, their age gets revealed, and it's like, oh, Asmongold is actually 39. He's actually 44, and I'm like, what the fuck? Oh my god, he fucking regressed back into a fucking 4th grader. Holy shit.
My friend just got married, and my other friend has a job, and I have I've got this new mount, you know, it's pretty cool.
You
Age
said a
does not
quote
mean
years
wise.
ago that really fucked me up.
Bro, dude, IQ and age, but only one of these numbers is going up.
You're on Facebook, and you see all these middle-aged women.
Jesus.
Yeah, posting about the Minions movie, taking their kids out to the movie theater, and then you realize those middle-aged women were your classmates in high school, bro.
It's a real reality check. I had to lay down after that one.
Yep.
Yeah. And well, I think that also, like, a lot of these games, right? I mean, they do kind of, like, they're super cheerful. They're really happy. And so I think that they do have, like, a big appeal to people that are kind of, like, feeling empty, or they don't really have something going for them in real life. And then so they play these games, and it makes them feel better. Usually whenever I'm laying in bed, I'm just on my phone. Like, video games, to me, it's like, oh, that's work, right? Like, because usually, like, what I do is I'll just read Twitter and then respond to people on Twitter. I'll be like, yeah, you're fat, and something like that, right?
Well, that's a strong indicator for how today's gonna go. Guys, trans in bathrooms.
ATSTs, ATSTs.
How is it that we had this right for 2,000 years, and now we're literally reinventing the wheel?
We did not. Bathrooms segregated by sex and or gender are a modern idea.
What did you, like, watch movies growing up, or are they like people get bullied in men's bathrooms?
Trans people do experience higher risks of harassment and assault when using public bathrooms.
If you make people use the bathroom that their sex is at birth, right? Then you're also going to have women that transition to men walking in the women's bathroom. No matter which way you cut it, you're going to have people that look like guys walking into the women's bathroom.
That is correct.
The best solution is just to have a third fucking bathroom.
While this notion is common,
I mean, let's be honest, okay? Like, not to say like, oh yeah, women who look like men walking into women's bathrooms, right? Like, let's not even talk about that. When Asmongold walks into a bathroom, all right, even the men think they're about to get groped, okay? Jesus Christ, chill. Damn.
It does not solve the inherent problems for either party. People who want bathroom bans are trying to push trans people out of public life altogether, and trans people wouldn't be any safer because the very premise makes it easier to identify them. The issue isn't trans people. It's people willing to harass others based on assumptions that aren't even correct a lot of the time. But maybe they're all just Karens, right?
Like, ultimately, bathrooms are supposed to be, like, gender safe spaces, right? I mean, generally.
That was the original justification for sex-segregated bathrooms when they were established, because men didn't know.
No, motherfucker. Bathrooms are for shitting and peeing and pooping and throwing up sometimes. They're meant for gender safe spaces. What? What are you talking about? They're for shitting and peeing and pooping. What the fuck? Okay, listen, maybe he uses bathrooms different than us, okay?
How to handle women in the workplace because they believe they belong in the home.
This would have never happened if women couldn't vote.
What the fuck?
Man, so true, brother. So true. Absolutely.
And that was the original mindset.
Okay.
Like, I don't think the world has to become comfortable with these people. I think these people have to be comfortable with the world.
There's a slim degree of truth to this, insofar as
Man.
pushing for rights is a slow, painful process. But the same can be said in the exact opposite direction, that personal discomfort is not broad justification for exclusion. The streamer Valkyrie had a minor controversy over her wardrobe.
Like, I wouldn't wear, like, if Balenciaga sent me something, I would wear it if I thought it was comfortable, or I liked the way it looked.
It's beautiful, isn't it? The Balenciaga.
You get all these strings attached to you, bro. And you get enough strings attached to you and you become a puppet. Said high-priced merch is just a way to liberate retarded people from their money. Yeah.
I think Asmon just indirectly called her the R-word. Hassan's back in China again.
Okay, what is he wearing? I don't know what nobody knows. He's in another country, but I'm still on his mind. What
Oops,
can I
wrong
say?
weapon.
It's because I play video games a lot. And I play their video games a lot. What I think is even funnier is that a lot of my viewpoints on the way video games should be made and the types of things that should and should not be included in video games. You know who agrees with me on that a lot? Chinese people.
No, it's the Chinese government.
No.
As will be pointed out, media is heavily regulated and censored in China.
Well, but they put people in work camps and they harvest their organs. And I said, I already like them. You don't have to convince me.
So Asmongold's logic is Europe is bad because
Wait, bro, but they're literally committing genocide. Like, that's kind of fucked up, bro.
Don't do
Not
anything.
gonna lie.
China is good because war camps and organ harvesting.
I don't know if they do or not, but either way,
Bro,
it's pretty
that's...
While watching a Steven Crowder.
Bro, I don't think like people realize how fucked up like the organ harvesting thing is insane. Yeah.
Video where he mentions Asmongold, we get to hear his policy on lying.
I hate lying to people, to be honest with you. I love deceiving people, but I hate lying. So I love telling people the truth and making them believe that it's a lie, but I hate actually having to lie. I feel like it's like cheating. Because like there's like the game of deception. People are like, well, you wouldn't eat a dog, would you? I'm like, I'd eat a person. They're like, you shouldn't have said that. I'm like, yeah, probably not. But it's true. Okie dokie. Go on a show? Maybe one day I will.
You do not need to go on Steven Crowder's show.
And I don't like actually saying A is B, but I would maybe say, you know, a lowercase a is capital A, right? Because I feel like that's a little bit more exciting for me. It's more entertaining. It's more engaging.
Following another conversation about gay people in China, Asmongold looks at the trailer for the new Black Ops.
Is that Rocketeer?
I've heard Call of Duty actually sucks dick.
Asmon has his own idea for what Call of Duty should do in its next game.
So I told you guys they should have gone with my 9/11 idea. They should put Bill Clinton, Jeffrey Epstein.
Okay, we're done listening to that.
I would have the people jumping out of the building.
Thankfully, Asmongold has the right idea about what age of consent means.
18 is barely legal, and 15 is under that by like 3 years. Like, doesn't she see, like, I mean, that's clearly not, that's like, that's not even barely illegal. That's just illegal. Most of America is 16? Well, it's not 15. Like, what are you even talking about? You're not even arguing. That could be what you're saying too. Like, I don't even, what? 15-year-olds today are less mature.
We are literally never moving away from like age of consent discourse, are we? I feel like the more we try to move away from age of consent discourse, the more we are brought back to it one way or another. Like, you would think, okay, we're watching Asmongold, all right? There's no way we're going to be talking about lolly or age of consent or any of that shit, right? Nope. You just... Okay, all right, man, thank you.
And they were 40 years ago? Well, yeah, of course. You know, if you look at history, people very, very commonly, for like 99% of history, had kids before 18, okay? This is an established fact.
There's just no winning.
Another common misconception based on education that centers primarily on the ruling class. It was not that common, relative to our modern understanding of sex education and contraception, to have a kid before you were in your 20s. There are obvious health risks involved, but also the fact that whether you were a boy or a girl, odds are you were living on a farm.
Is someone safe spotting in there?
But he has the exact wrong idea about
how do you safe spot in there?
Yeah. Is that they think that Megyn Kelly is trying to
kill me.
Future, like a future argument for why it's okay that some political person she was attached to was in a relationship with a 15-year-old.
It's Trump.
That's, I think, kind of that's why I think people are mad about it. I don't really see a reason for it. There's no purpose. It's totally counterproductive, and it doesn't help her in any way.
Now we're forced to hear about what Asmongold thinks of the Super Mario Brothers sexuality.
Like, Bowser is super rich, he's really powerful, he's huge, and then Princess Peach always just happens to get kidnapped by Bowser. Are we really believing that? Yeah, she wants that big lizard dick. I'm just saying, guys. Yeah, Mario's getting cuffed.
Thanks,
yes, Mario's getting cuffed. That's why I said that you could prove Luigi.
You know what Asmongold feels like? Asmongold feels like therapy group for like millennials who could never get past the fact that they have turned 30. You know what I mean? Like, they keep on talking about like what Mario, Luigi, Sonic the Hedgehog, right? Like it feels like he's like, you know, it just feels like he's like therapy streaming for people who are too scared of the fact that they just turned 30. You know what I mean? Like, why the fuck are you just talking about, like, why do people who are, like, these, you know, far-right fucking gamer motherfuckers, like, always talking about this shit all day long, right? Like, damn. Like, there is definitely some insecurity there, right?
He had a bigger dick than Mario. Princess Peach is always getting kidnapped by Bowser, but you never see Daisy getting kidnapped.
I prefer Hornet being gay to this perversion. Activision released a statement about AI usage in the new Black Ops, and you'll never guess what Asmon's perspective on it is.
Oh my god, why?
If you are one of these dick-sucking retards that likes to complain about AI, oh, AI is so bad, I hate AI, I'm against AI, AI is so horrible. You know what you're gonna be? You're gonna be a dick-sucking retard for the rest of your life. And everybody is just going to laugh at you more and more and more.
Get here, oh god!
I think that people being gay actually crosses his mind a lot, whether or not he's actually into it.
Yeah, where's all the women, guys?
It's so cute.
This game must have been from a long time ago. You know what's so fucking insane?
Come on.
Is the fact that this actually happened.
2,
you guys ever think about that? Like,
4,
this shit actually happened.
Asmongold really knows how to sound like a stoner, even though he doesn't do drugs.
It's actually so sad how badass video games used to be. And I'm just gonna say.
What do you mean?
These were games that were made by guys.
Video games are still badass. What are you talking about?
Gamer brain up to 11.
This is when gaming used to be good, and now you
Oh
have
my
these
God.
video games
Oh
that
my
are made
God.
to just be
Oh my
slop
God.
that's enjoyable to everyone. No, no, that's not how it works. This has happened to every single video game, is that women have gotten into video games and they've made them for women. And I don't like this. This makes me fucking mad.
According to the Entertainment Software Association, 45% of all gamers in 20...
Wait, hold on. Why is women playing video games bad exactly? Has anybody figured out the question yet on why, like, it's, like, bad? Or... If more women are in video games, like, aren't you fucking more gamer girls? Like, aren't more gamer girls entering the fucking dating market or the dating pool? Isn't that what people want? What? But, okay. Alright, man.
10 were female, and in 2013, 42% played MMOs. Since then, the total number has risen to 48%.
I am having my culture appropriated. Like, I don't go to the salon and say, why is nobody listening to Rob Zombie in here? And we don't do that. We don't do that to them. This is what we used to have. Okay? This was the peak. And I think that it's girls getting in there and trying to change shit.
No, Asmon, it's the fact that you're getting older and starting to age out the primary demographic these games are marketed towards.
No.
I mean, he's also aging past. Listen, okay, that's not the only thing that's aging. Okay, he probably has erectile dysfunction too. Okay, he's also aging out the fucking dating market pool. Okay, not saying that he needs the dating pool, but I'm just saying like, maybe that's also part of it. He just can't stand the fact that he's aging and he's getting like so much older. Jesus Christ, like, what is he pushing 40?
No,
pushing 50?
no. Absolutely fucking
yeah,
not.
it is sad. It is super sad.
He compares the Warlords of Draenor cinematic from
It's like he can't get past the fact that he's aging.
Because
in
this
another
shit used to
way.
be so badass, and now it's cringe.
The premise Asmon is working from
Oh my
isn't men
God.
dominating the industry. It's
So
nostalgia.
toxic.
It's a bunch of it's a Karen game design.
Well,
That's all
yeah,
it is.
nostalgia. Yeah.
Literally Karen game design.
What does Karen mean
Karen
here except
game
probably more blaming
design?
unimagined women?
And so guys should have a complete monopoly on making games. Yes. And if girls want to make games, they should make their own
Epic.
games. You have
Epic
Stardew
alert.
Valley. You have Animal Crossing, you have Pokemon. And I'm not saying always, I think there's plenty of women who write great
What?
stories. But the difference
women-
is that whenever
women
you're
don't
writing
like
something
Valorant?
like World of Warcraft, this is a story about big, hairy, muscular men killing each other and dying for honor, gory tradition.
Spoilers about the ending of Warlords of Draenor if you care about that. But the main character in the cinematic he watched earlier dies refusing to take any responsibility for his own actions, revealing himself ultimately to be incredibly weak and petulant.
Shit.
Don't let yourself get tone policed by these annoying fucking Karens. This is a masculine thing.
Watch him counter someone's transphobia with what I think qualifies as its own transphobia, but in a way
Oh
that's
my
still
God.
inclusive.
Remember valid criticisms of child touching mentally ill people isn't hate? I mean, I don't think that every person that is a transsexual is a child toucher. I mean, like, that's insane. Like, why would you even say that? I don't really think that you can change your gender, like, not entirely. Like,
What, bro? You cultivated this audience. Why would you even say that? Everybody in your audience says that. What are you talking about? That's your audience.
obviously, if somebody wants to go through the requisite procedures and everything, I'll use their preferred pronouns because I don't want to create a conflict with somebody.
Honestly, I'm fine with this. Obviously, I have a different understanding of sex and gender, but if
You need a defib? Hold on.
Yes, sir. Please, if you got one, that would be absolutely amazing.
Sorry, I don't have a defib.
Oh, it's fine. I have got some shit on me.
we're talking about the broader public, tolerance should be the acceptable baseline. It even gets covered in a World of Warcraft cinematic.
I have learned patience, tolerance.
But you can obviously, you know, dress different ways and get surgery and then, you know, act and behave and be seen as a woman in society. I think that's true.
Here's a good example of why I find Asmongold interesting. He just clearly laid out gender presentation as a social standard of expectations with regards to femininity and masculinity. But even with that understanding, he falls back on gender as a binary because biological delineations between men and women, even though trans people aren't even trying to take that away. In the simplest terms, without trying to step on people's personal definitions or present as an expert myself, it's just people who want to exist at certain ends of the spectrum between masculinity and femininity and be recognized as such.
So really, I don't know why there's such a weird distinction for people to have, right? And there's no point to being mean, I agree. Yeah, exactly. The reason why people get hyper obsessed with trans stuff is because it's always being put in their face.
And if I had to guess, I would say the reason this is an issue that comes up a lot for Asmon is that his regular news presents it to him as being one.
So they see a new show comes out and there's a trans character. Trans people are like 0.6% of the population, but if you look at media representation, you'd think that they're like 10 or 20%.
According to GLAAD, in 2023, there were 33 trans characters in total, across all TV shows between cable and streaming. Trans people aren't taking up a huge chunk of space. They're just taking up a space.
They want it keeps getting forced on them.
If the compromise you have to make to enjoy a product made for a broad audience
God,
is that someone has a lifestyle you don't necessarily understand or agree with, but isn't directly harming anyone, that's a you problem to get over. Now it's Irrelevant's turn to have his reaction to Lonerbox's reaction to Hassan's reactions reacted to by Asmongold.
The thing that everybody accused him of doing with Israel, which is like some paid propaganda, social credit.
Every Jew is being paid by Israel to promote Israel. I learned this on Instagram Reels.
Wait,
While I don't think Asmon is being serious, I have concerns if his Instagram algorithm is feeding him anti-Semitic posts.
There are some other things that I learned on Instagram Reels too, but I don't think the chat's ready for those yet.
Why would you say this?
AI translated speech of obviously Adolf Hitler on Instagram Reels, and it had 200,000 likes.
Okay, Dan.
I was thinking to myself,
this is Dan's ally. Okay, Dan and
That's
Ethan's
a lie.
ally. All right,
Why is that your Instagram recommendations?
All right,
I always joke about
as you can
this,
see,
about
very
how
friendly.
wars get
Who
announced
the
on my
fuck
days
took
off.
my Leaper Core?
I took a day off yesterday and a war got announced. How does this keep happening?
Oh my god.
Knowing that, let's see what Asmongold's reactions to the bombings in Venezuela are.
Now, do I totally agree with the regime change? I don't know really if I do or not. I mean, I don't have a strong opinion on it one way or another, to be honest with you. Like, I'm not totally against it, though. Only the people can hold their government accountable, right? You know, we can't go and change it and then assume that it's going to get better, right? If their economy is built off of basically sending illegal drugs to our country, then it is our problem.
The Venezuelan economy is built on oil. Once again, propaganda takes its toll as Asmon wonders why the military has such a hard time with forces that are seemingly insignificant in comparison.
I always wonder, like, how much of that is like a forced problem and
Misaki, thank you so much for the 5 gift subs. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Thank
how
you.
much of it is that they just let it happen.
You're probably wondering how I can commentate while playing this game, okay, at such a high intensity. I'm not playing this game, I'm playing terribly.
Put as much distance as possible between yourself and a target while still being able to connect with it. Guerrilla warfare is about closing that distance.
And like my opinion is that with the Vietnam War and with the Iraq War is that we were not there to win. We were there to continue fueling the military industrial complex. I think if we had tried to actually accomplish any one specific goal there, it would have happened extremely fast.
This would require a much longer explanation than I'm equipped to provide here, but basically the problems our military faces in extended conflicts are not limited to what we can or can't blow up.
Misaki, thank you so much
I think that if he starts a war over there, I think that most Americans probably won't really care that much as long as soldiers aren't being sent over there.
If Trump unilaterally and unconstitutionally decides to throw the U.S. military at a country, regardless of whether any soldiers are in immediate danger, people are going to care.
Not in the Western Hemisphere, not in our backyard, because that destabilizes trade, it destabilizes economies. It's the security of the United States at stake here.
Thankfully, that's the last political story he covers before he gets to the new video game where wins meet. You know, I've never actually seen Asmongold play a video game. I wonder what it's like.
Not eating food is really OP in terms of losing weight.
Listen, I'm not an expert, but I think Asmongold has an eating disorder.
You're just like those girls? No, I'm not. You just
He
don't
probably
eat food.
does.
It's easy. It's easy. You just stop eating food. I don't make a big deal out of it. You just do it. There's a lot of food. It's low in calories. Most people just want the sugar. I love sugar. I started
that really does not sound healthy.
And everything in my life improved.
And that would be a sign of depression.
Like in 100 years, there might not be anybody with diabetes anymore. Yeah, it's probably just going to go away. Story mode, this is for girls, I guess. This is for, I guess, normal people.
Were you even listening?
Shut up, bitch! This bitch is wild. Damn, bitch. This bitch is mad. You stupid fat bitch.
Please stop calling the child a bitch.
This bitch tries to tell me what to do.
That's a little weird.
Well, I tried.
You guys notice there aren't any fat people in this game? Cocksucker.
Are we at war, Syria? Yeah.
So this next topic will be regarding
I mean, New York City is literally Afghanistan, so I mean, like, I don't know what to tell you. Is that a fucking rocketeer?
If you did read this guy's manifesto, this guy was like an extreme, like, alt-right figure. He wanted to rely on government to literally kick out all Muslims from New Zealand. So he felt that he needed to go to a place and target and kill the most amount of Muslims possible, and he went to a mosque and did it. I do think that, like, hateful rhetoric can lead to hateful acts of violence. I mean, that chain is to establish that is very complicated. You know, people maybe listen to a few jokes in one place, start posting on poll in another place, start getting drafted into more extremist groups, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. There are a lot of people that are really good gateways for this. I mean, people have written up so many different types of studies for how you can start watching a Joe Rogan video and then go to Jordan Peterson and then wind up with more extremist figures like Nick Fuentes or maybe Lauren Southern or something like that, and then eventually go down that extremist road.
I think at the beginning of your statement, you did give a little bit of credence to Nick and also Sargon's point that maybe he didn't feel like he was able to discuss these issues without being
no fun for me, I guess.
Oh yeah, sure, but that doesn't mean that I think that those views are legitimate or need to be platformed. I think that's a bad dichotomy, right? If somebody says like, I want to kill all black people, like, well, I'm going to fire you if you say that on Twitter, and then they go out and actually kill black people because they got banned from Twitter. You wouldn't say, well, hold on, like, should we be suppressing this man's views? He felt like he had nowhere to express them, and now he actually went, well, no. I mean, the idea is we need to not have people have these horrendously anti-immigrant views in society, right? So views like Fuentes pushes, for instance, where he seems to be anti-immigrant or anti-person of color, or whatever, moving into certain countries where he feels like it violates their Western culture or whatever, however he dogs it.
Die.
How we doing, boys? What's going on?
ready to go again, man. Another fucking day.
All right, let's hear what today's discussion will be.
The big question of the day: did Donald Trump suck Bill Clinton's dick? Yeah, stop 9 wars and you suck one dick. You're not a peacemaker. You're a dick
get
sucker.
away from
and
me.
wouldn't that be crazy for like all the people that hate Donald Trump if he turns out to be the first LGBT president?
Not really. Like you're basically saying that Trump being proven to have committed sexual acts in connection with Epstein means you get to own the libs. And I don't think that's the priority.
The French president is the same, apparently. Yeah, I heard about that with his husband as well. Candace Owens and a bunch of other people think that she's a man. Well, we don't really know this, right? It's not something I would bet on. Isn't she also a pedo? Yeah, of course. But it was in Europe, and so like it's they do things differently over there.
I think that Macron's relationship is weird, to put it mildly. But yesterday you called Trump a piece of shit for calling out Bill Clinton and Prince Andrew's relationship with Epstein without evidence. So I'd still call this a double standard even before you get to the idea that any conspiracy theory touted by Candace Owens is even remotely plausible.
In 9 wars, you suck one dick. You're not a peacemaker. You're a dick sucker. That's right.
Jack Doherty got arrested. If you don't know who that is, he had one viral moment last year when he crashed his McLaren on stream because he decided to go 90 miles an hour in the rain.
What? Whoa. Oh.
But there's one moment here I want to show you about a conversation Asmon had with his dad.
And I'm like, are you cooked?
Oh shit, oh shit,
and he's like, what do you mean? Like, am I dead?
Whoa.
And I'm like, yeah. He's like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Come over, let's find out.
This is what I'm talking about when I say his casual yapping
You
is
don't mess
endearing.
with my
And it's something I haven't gotten
Fuck
from any of
you,
the other
fuck
people
you.
I've watched. Maybe it's just my experience, but when you're dealing with a sick family, it's not just a constant
I
deluge
feel
of
like a
sadness.
man.
There are the funny, awkward bits in the middle where you can eke out a laugh at the absurdity of the process. I think this is a good memory for Asmon to hold on to.
Oh shit.
Hassan
Oh
is back
shit.
in
Oh shit.
China
Oh shit.
again.
No. We can't fight that. We can't fight that.
Someone
We
asks
can't
Hassan
fight
about
that.
the gay dating apps China banned, which he incredulously calls a Twitter rumor.
I think you just saw that on Twitter. Meanwhile, Twitter. It's all Twitter. Listen, just because you went to China doesn't mean you have to justify everything that China's ever done. You don't have to run PR for them. Feminism is still a dirty word in China. Guys, I already wanted to go. You don't have to keep convincing me.
You could probably tell from day one, but it's pretty clear this isn't just edgy humor. Asmon just doesn't like women. And if you reject that notion, let's finish up here and you'll see. Before he moves on from the subject, Asmon watches a clip of Destiny's reaction to Hassan's trip.
I think he's like Jackson Hinkle territory to me, like worse than Fuentes right now. I cannot believe that you would do a propaganda trip to China and that you would suck off Mao. I think that
Klein worse than Fuentes is so retarded and biased. I don't know. I mean, like, I don't want to get into it. I mean, I can see why he says that. I can see why people would disagree, right?
Boy, I sure wonder if the implications of his non-comment won't reveal themselves later. This is Hassan's reaction to being gifted a little red book.
Is that a Bible?
The fact that Hassan's entourage would think the Chinese government would offer him a Bible is just so telling about their understanding of the country.
I don't know. I mean, I don't even know what it's about. I have no idea.
Come on.
Can you imagine if I did that? Like, let's say somebody gifted me a book of like fucking The Art of the Deal or like Mein Kampf and I did that. Oh my god. Like that would just be people would be talking about that like around the whole world. Can you imagine that?
I'm pretty sure Asmon doesn't intend to make any implications here, but he's making implications here.
Because of the implication.
Now Asmon reacts to the trailer for a new Pokemon game.
Wow. It's Ditto. This is made for people that have an IQ of like 65. And I am so excited to see every dumb e-girl probably playing this game on release. Oh, wow, it's a Squirtle. Oh, wow. Oh, God.
Remember what he said yesterday?
Like, I don't go to the salon, and we don't do that. We don't do that to them.
I'm back.
Pokemon.
He watches the trailer for the new Call of Duty.
What a stupid game. This is tough. You can only choose wisely. Yeah, it's bread. Yeah, if it was regular bread, then it'd be a tougher decision. But yeah, with garlic bread, I mean, come on.
And then he finds out that a games journalist said Expedition 33 isn't an indie game, and so it shouldn't be nominated for an indie award. Asmon proceeds to loop.
It's not a loop. It's a spiral.
Asmon proceeds to spiral.
Which dumb retard idiot said this? Where's the dumb retard idiot that said this? You idiot. You fucking moron.
Which then carries over into anger at the Indie Game Awards in general for being woke.
Oh. The problem is not in their girth,
dude,
but it is in their taste.
But the thing is that like it's not like Asmongold ever cared about the indie game scene though. That's the issue, right? Like you should know that there are plenty of indie games that are super woke, but at the same time they're like genuinely good, right? In fact, as an actual indie game, like as somebody who actually catches up on this stuff in the past, like Night in the Woods is really good. Another good game is Crosscode. Another great game is Undertale, obviously, right? But like again, like why the fuck is like Asmongold like speaking on indie games as if he's even a part of the community or even cares about the community for indie games, right? Indie games are some of the most hardest like fucking games to make because you're like a one-man team or you're like a two-man team or some shit like that. Like you need to put some respect on the fucking homies' names, okay? All right, holy shit. They have been through hell, all right, to develop like even an ounce of these games. So like, yeah, it's just disrespectful, to be honest. But, yeah.
2 overweight soy millennial men to go.
Indie games are boring, let's admit it. Faster Than Light is boring? You better take that back right now, okay? You better take that back. Into the Breach is boring? Slay the Spire is boring? Okay, alright. Yeah, you don't even know what you're talking about, okay?
Go and gas up the Indie Game Awards. And you've got a bunch of nominations here of games that nobody even played. This is bad. I am so fucking upset. And these retards are sitting here making these award shows for other retards. And it's making me mad.
So just to make sure I understand, these are people you don't like, promoting games you don't want to play to an audience you aren't a part of, and for some reason this is deeply offensive.
This is pathetic.
I mean, I agree, but not the reason you intended.
Blue hair games? Yeah, all woke shit, bro. All annoying, cringe, like millennial slop woke trash. Oh, it's my lizard. Oh, he's on the wall. I tried to catch him the other day. I couldn't get him. He's fast.
And now we're looking at libs of TikTok. Why are we looking at libs of TikTok?
Literally all Karens. All middle-aged white women.
But don't worry, it's not over yet.
Women are fed up.
I have no idea.
What is this, for lesbians? Articles like this are written by angry fat women in their 30s. So they can hopefully, ruin the marriage prospects. And
no, they're written to get rage clicks.
It's all a massive psyop. None of it is actually real. Okay, yeah, let's look up who wrote it. Let's see if it's a fat middle-aged woman. Let's find out.
More woke games media who don't like AI.
It's because all of these studios and all of these people are totally bought and paid for, and they are pushing an agenda. I cannot wait for the day that I get to announce that this company is being shut down and they're having layoffs. Once these like weird freaks get into your company, they're like a parasite or an infection. And you can't just, remove every infected cell. You have to sever the limb.
Everyone knows.
The timestamp is 1 hour.
Once you start using language like parasite to describe someone, your ideology is a winner.
You can't rebuild Ubisoft. The only people who can do it is China. And the Middle East can also do it. It's because there isn't a cultural cost for them simply firing all of the woke people. Same with Japan. Like, Japan just got rid of all of Square Enix English team. It's because they're a bunch of woke, weird losers.
Hilariously, the director for Final Fantasy XVI said the most unwoke thing possible outside of an actual slur about the game, and it still didn't sell well. Asmon has a message for the people who don't like hearing the R word from their streamers.
It doesn't matter how many fat, annoying, stupid, middle-aged women.
Okay, I think you get the point now. Mexico had protests against the government.
Bro, there's no need for you to slander your dead mom like that. Like, it's damn, does her dead body really have it coming? Holy shit.
For supposed connections to drug cartels in their country. It's actually amazing how horseshoe theory is proven in real time.
It's One Piece, it's just like One Piece. Are they taking back their country? I think it's because they think that she's in cahoots with the cartels. I don't know if she is or not.
It's like One Piece?
I don't know. Like, I think that to some degree you probably have to be cordial
it's like
with them.
One Piece?
But I don't really know that. I've never
is that
been
what
to
he
Mexico,
said?
so like how am I really supposed to know? I mean, honestly, how can you run Mexico without working with them? I'd probably threaten their life and family. Well, I mean, El Salvador, I mean, the guy over there did it, and like as far as I bet they probably tried to threaten him too.
El Salvador suspended basic rights and arrested thousands of people, overcrowding their prisons even with the opening of CCOT. It's also reported that there are hundreds of political prisoners. Since 2022, the state has arrested over 3,300 children, many without justification or connection to gangs. Interviews reveal that the police were given arrest quotas, meaning that this was likely done to pump up their numbers. They've also been held in detention and prisons with adults, exposing them to potential abuse. Which, speaking of, torture and abuse are rampant. And now with the gangs gone, the ones committing crimes are now the police and the military.
I'm the president of Mexico seeking asylum in America. I can't believe he did this. They're January 6ing. I'm proud of them. They're January 6ing. Look at them go. Bro, it's like Helm's Deep. They're bringing in the ladders.
Just when I thought the disparity between his initial reaction to January 6th and this couldn't get any more stark.
Maybe this is like an egomaniac thing for me to say, but I do actually feel like I have some degree of obligation to, whenever something crazy like this is happening in the world, that I do actually like talking about it, because I feel like every mainstream media publication doesn't give a fuck and doesn't care at all.
Your obligation isn't to just talk about something that happens without any proper understanding of what's happening. Your obligation is to accurately inform people if this is what you want to spend time on.
Straight up punched him in the dick.
But I guess that might be too much to ask.
Oh my god! They beat him with bolt cutters? Oh, they are! They're beating him to death! To be fair, they're just pushing him around right now. But whenever I see a crash out happening in a country like Mexico, that to me is very different than an American crash out. Because American crash outs are people who are angry because the election didn't go their way. In these other countries, people are angry because the election didn't go.
I think he's talking.
It's not okay to have crash outs over democracy getting destroyed from stupid people, or
about no kings as opposed to, you know, January 6th. But either way, he's incorrect because Claudia Sheinbaum won with stupidly large margins, beating her closest opponents by nearly 2 times the votes in an election that no one has called illegitimate. So the people he's watching are, in fact, rioting because the election didn't go their way.
Like, if you don't have a way to democratically be able to voice your frustrations and vent your frustrations, then the only option is violence. But sometimes you just simply lose the democratic vote. To be fair, our democracy probably plays a role in their lack of democracy. I think that you're right, and I think that Americans do need to spend less time intervening in other countries' affairs.
It's horseshoes all the way down.
This is what January 6th was meant to be. Yeah, I do think this is funny whenever you look at this and you compare it to January 6th, you know?
What?
It's like, oh, wow. Yeah, January 6th was so horrible. Uh-huh. Yeah, sure, guys. Most reasonable people look at this and view it as a disgrace. Most Mexicans ask Trump for military help.
They do not. A little less than half would support U.S. military assistance specifically if it came with government approval.
I don't think we really should intervene militarily with Mexico, but I do think that there's a degree of American best interest, some degree of aid or something like that we could give them. It'll be better for us too. Because like there are 2 ways that you can stop.
I think Dan Matriarch might actually be impossible. I think it might actually just be impossible. Like, not to say, yeah, again, not to say it's like impossible, but like it's just so frustrating.
People from coming to your country, right?
I think at this point, it's always a death trap.
Way to stop them from coming over is to make it so they don't want to. It's like, if they don't even want to, problem solved.
You have just made the argument for USAID.
Bro, if they catch her, they're going to kill her. The cartel members, I mean, am I really going to feel bad for that? The cartel members kill people all the time. They think that she's in cahoots with the cartels. I don't know if she is or not. I don't know. Like, proof that she's a cartel asset, though? Proof? No. Evidence? Yes. I don't know. Like, but there's no actual proof.
He doesn't know that Claudia Sheinbaum is corrupt. He doesn't know who organized this protest. He doesn't know what the actual goals of the protest are. But it's good because it's in the direction of what he needs to validate supporting Trump's policies. Asmon thinks the protest isn't being covered by American media because it would convey that Mexicans aren't able to assimilate to American culture, and Sheinbaum is unpopular despite opposing Trump.
In order to push the narrative that there is like a parity between American culture and Mexican culture in the way that people from Mexico are going to come to America and see.
Why you never play a demon? I would if he wants to.
Mostly integrate with the culture.
Has called it a movement financed by right-wing politicians and business.
You're jumping the shark. You're jumping the shark. It's so obvious that's not true.
Asmongold might dismiss that claim out of hand, but let's actually dig into it. Apologies for any mispronunciations of any names. Claudia Sheinbaum said that the protests against her at that moment were a coordinated right-wing effort stoked by online botting, billionaires, and members of the opposing party in an effort to undermine her legitimacy with the populace. So, were there billionaires? Yes, there were. Ricardo Salinas Pliego, a Mexican billionaire who owes the government $4 billion, was one of the initial instigators of the
Oh yeah, wait, hold on, real quick. Reminder, okay? This stream is not possible without donations from people like you, so please consider donating, okay? This is just your reminder to do so, your regular reminder to do so, okay? Consider donating to me, and I'll make it worth your while, okay? Content-wise.
Protest on social media, sharing a message from a Mexican influencer, Carlos Bello, who had not previously delved into politics, denouncing the administration. Those calls were amplified until a protest was announced and simultaneously promoted by 179 TikTok accounts and 359 Facebook groups. And on November 1st, after the murder of Mayor Carlos Manzo, every group shifted from a general demand for change to supporting his memory. Were there members of the opposing party? Yes, there were. Vicente Fox, former president of Mexico, the guy who during Trump's first term said they weren't going to build the fucking wall, supported the protests. Here he is wearing a one-piece shirt. Very Gen Z. Were there bots? Yes, there were. Javier Negre, the founder of La Derecha Diario, and Agustin Antonetti are 2 right-wing digital strategists with connections to Salinas, and have operated in South American politics previously, and have used bots and artificial promotion of hashtags on Twitter like Narco Presidente in the Mexican election. They both participated in the creation of this movement. And the final piece of evidence that this was astroturfed is that the protest following this one only garnered 200 people. There is not broad dissatisfaction with Sheinbaum in Mexico.
Right, it's all bots and right-wing extremism. That must be it, guys. Yeah, for sure, guys. 100% that's what it is. She still says she has 80% approval rating? Really? I see that.
She has 70% approval. A crowd of people is not indicative of nationwide popularity.
Do you believe that ICE human rights violations are committed with total impunity? I disagree with the idea of human rights to begin with. People don't have innate rights. Rights are invented. There's no difference between a right and the way that you should treat somebody. So you've started off the conversation on a lie.
Okay, cool. What do you think about ICE's violation of people's invented rights?
A human rights violation. According to who? Somebody who disagrees with you? Oh, okay. Well, let's just listen to...
God, he's just so epic and edgy and awesome, isn't he? Oh my god. He's really spitting facts here. Holy shit.
To them, tell you why you're wrong. No, I don't think so.
Well, there are the people who died, the people violently detained without cause, the people deported against court orders and their legal status, the people arrested despite following the rules they were given to avoid deportation,
He's so epic.
The people who died, and the people who were violently detained without cause.
So he's saying this about Donald Trump? What the fuck?
More Epstein cope that these emails don't literally say, yes, we were best friends doing sex crimes together.
I feel like it's such an abstract thing to say, right? Because if you're saying that he brought up Trump after
we're doing
the
high
relationship
risk,
had
Bluegate.
ended, does that mean that
Good
he's
luck.
talking about
High
new
risk,
things,
Bluegate.
or is he
High
talking
risk,
about Trump in
Bluegate.
general?
Oh,
I think
this is gonna be rough.
that's a misleading statement. You know what? This actually makes me think that they were actually pretty good friends. Because there's no way you're going to be emailing somebody years after the fact, still mauling out over it, unless you guys used to be boys. Yes, he was patient zero for TDS. Exactly. Yeah, but like obviously he didn't, like Epstein clearly doesn't think that about Trump, because if he did, he wouldn't have been friends with him for all those years.
Yes, the people who might have one specific thing in common that they can't share with anybody else wouldn't override their other feelings about each other that they might find distasteful.
He's close to no one. Well, if he's close to no one, then I guess then you weren't close to him, right? If you're saying this. I would not look at Jeffrey Epstein as a reliable narrator. It's worth taking into account, it's worth reading and listening to, but I wouldn't just believe it.
In the span of one day, we've gone from,
oh, it could make somebody look bad? Too bad. You shouldn't have gone to an island with a pedophile.
to, well, being in the files doesn't mean you're technically a pedophile.
Well, Trump's name being in the files doesn't mean he did anything wrong. Like, Epstein is crashing out about Trump and they're not even friends anymore. So are you counting all the times that he's complaining about Donald Trump in his emails?
Dude, they would never
So
make this
dishonest.
argument with
Just
a
release the
Democrat,
files,
dude.
we'll figure out who the weirdos are, and arrest them.
And also he has an opinion about the concerns about Trump's health, given that he got an MRI that he won't explain the purpose of.
Maybe there's something wrong with Trump. Okay, well, I don't know. Maybe he has cancer, or maybe there's some other big issue. Maybe it was an MRI. They needed to do that because he's the president, and they do an extra level of testing for somebody who's the president. I don't know. It could be 50 different reasons.
Okay, but the issue is we still don't know, and he won't tell us.
I think it's important for people to know whether the president is physically capable of doing the job.
I'm gonna warn you now, if this video is spiking your blood pressure, 1, I'm sorry, and 2, it's gonna get worse.
Oh, you have no idea, okay? Trust me. Nice. I've seen enough of this shit to the point where I am completely jaded. I am dead on the inside. And honestly, any kind of additional cruelty, Asmongold might say, is completely up to him. Okay, listen, good for him, all right?
Because Asmongold is about to react to Kyle Kalinski's video calling him the dumbest person of 2025.
Look, you do a massive disservice. You have this giant audience of people who follow you, and if you're out there...
The disservice is disagreeing.
Kalinski's arguments kind of suck because he's basically blowing hot air for his own audience rather than trying to say anything substantial.
Oh,
but
shit.
Asmongold's response is something. He starts off with a whopper on Trump's cuts to the NIH, which include cuts to pediatric cancer care.
Has it ever occurred to you that maybe the research was done in a way that was bad? Every time that people say something like this, the implication is that, oh, they're curing cancer.
Wait, hold on. But that means nothing, right? Research, like pointing out potentially research could be bad, it means absolutely nothing, right? Like again, you're trying to muddy the waters, right? Just to be very clear.
Or something like that. This is bullshit. Yeah. And also on top of that, yeah, just because you're doing research doesn't mean that it's a good allocation of government money.
Asman will not look up to see whether this is even remotely true. Federal budget cuts, amongst other things, include $4 million from the Pediatric Brain Tumor Consortium, an organization that does research on rare cancers affecting thousands of children every year. You might think on principle that the government shouldn't fund bad science, but they aren't checking on the validity of the research because the mechanisms aren't in place to do an audit like that, let alone that quickly. And if you need evidence, over the course of this year, the government has fired thousands of people and then had to hire them back because they didn't realize they were necessary. This is not being done with care or concern for the consequences.
But I do think they're probably overshooting and probably firing too many people too quickly. But I think that the inevitability of this is not to be denied. But it's for cancer kids. Okay, great emotional argument. Because the idea of, oh my God, he's cutting research for cancer kids. Oh no! That sounds bad.
What he will look up is whether the weather service cuts are actually to blame for flash flood deaths in Texas.
According to 3 former staffing shortages, national services are nothing new. So this has already been happening. It was already happening, and
I am dubious that cutting staff for the weather service as we encounter more and more extreme weather events will have a positive overall impact on our ability to navigate them in the future, even if you accept that it wasn't a problem this time.
This is the thing, right? You give a specific example, and it falls apart.
Now what about Trump cutting the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau's budget in half?
Good. They weren't doing their job.
The CFPB was created after the 2008 financial crisis and has a budget today of a little under $1 billion.
They obviously had no fucking idea what they were doing.
But prior to the cuts, they had clawed $21 billion back for consumers and imposed $5 billion in fines.
What are these?
Again, this is an institution that has a higher rate of return for the people it helps than the taxation it costs to operate.
The scams have been through the fucking roof. But there's a bureau of people that are supposed to stop scams. And you want to keep them on payroll? They sucked.
Firing government workers who are veterans?
Oh no, you can't fire veterans anymore.
Trump is firing 80,000 people at the Department of Veterans Affairs. There is no way to fully predict the impact of so many people losing their jobs in such a short amount of time, or the reverberations it will have across the broader economy. But this will mean that care for veterans will get worse.
Another emotional appeal.
Firing 250,000 government workers overall.
Good. It should have been more.
Apparently, Asmon isn't worried about the economic impact of sudden large-scale job loss. I'm scared to hear what he thinks about gutting USAID.
Oh, no. That's right. It's America's responsibility to pay for people that have HIV and AIDS in Africa.
Unironically, yes.
Oh, yeah.
The total cost of USAID fluctuates between $40 and $60 billion, or around about $105 per person in the United States, and less than 1% of the total federal budget. Since 1990, USAID has helped cut mortality for children under 5 in half, and 90 countries had their under 5 mortality drop by 2/3. PEPFAR, which provides AIDS medication, has saved 25 million people, and currently helps 20 million people, including 500,000 children.
People have been dying in droves.
Is he specifying in America or not? No, he's not. It's because it's not happening in America.
If you don't believe the numbers that say hundreds of thousands of people will inevitably die as a result of dismantled infrastructure to provide aid, or that the people who can migrate will inevitably put even more pressure on American immigration services that will be much more expensive, which Asmon understands based on his analysis of Mexico, what about the fact that USAID's support confined disease outbreaks to parts of the world that meant they had a much harder time finding their way to the US? For example, the West Africa Ebola outbreak in 2014. USAID led the response.
Wait,
and
I
he
said this
dismantled
twice
USAID
now.
while another outbreak is ongoing.
It's because you have people here that are dying from lack of medical care. You have people here that don't have housing. Where is the priority list that a veteran ever gets outranked by a person in Africa? Oh, no.
Yeah,
you
boy.
can't fire veterans anymore. Yeah, I agree with it. Good call. W. And also all these examples here that he's given are policy decisions and not actual violence. I was discussing things like Charlie Kirk and Jay Jones.
Wow,
in the clip.
nice.
And so he's misinterpreted what I've said, and he's even making an argument that doesn't even make sense in the context of what I said.
All of these things make people more susceptible to violence and overall suffering. And regardless of if it's directly
amazing.
violent,
Thanks.
his casual willingness to vocally endorse choices that have and will lead to more people needlessly dying is more monstrous than anything Jay Jones has texted. But we're not done yet. Asmon's perspective on the government killing people they've labeled as terrorists has changed in the last 5 years.
Let me get this straight. So the U.S. government can read a license plate with a satellite from outer space, but you think that...
You know what? I'm glad that Conduit isn't like a fucking lefty hack. Okay, I'm glad that Conduit is also somebody who criticizes the left. No, sorry, a moderate hack. Sorry, a moderate hack. Okay, that I meant to say that. One of my biggest scares is that somebody leans too far to the right or too apologetic to the left, or too apologetic to the right, or whatever the fuck, right? Yeah.
A Twitter post that said that the people were innocent is more accurate than that.
People in glass houses shouldn't throw tweets.
And they're trying to think that it's new.
But to his main point, we have not gotten any evidence that these people are absolutely guilty of crimes, that the crimes would require this response, or that the repercussions of carrying out these responses would be worth it versus other means. He's just taking Trump at his word.
Sure. Because they agree with it, because it's the right thing to do. It is. Absolutely. Blow up the boats. Without even a question. How could you be against that?
You don't just shoot people randomly. Who determines who a terrorist is? The person with the gun? What happens when they're wrong?
If I saw somebody running at my house
Damn,
with a bomb,
he actually
I would want to shoot
degraded
them
in
before they got to
intelligence.
my house. I wouldn't want to try to apprehend them, arrest them, and try to put them through a whole process. No, you just fucking shoot them. And he'd do the same thing.
The analogy doesn't work because the urgency of someone being immediately outside and someone being thousands of miles away are completely different.
It's insane. Okay, well, that's a good argument for why they're not narco-terrorists.
Oh, trafficking narcotics, the penalty is not instant death. Are you...
Yeah, it is. And if it's not, it should be. How about that? Who's going to stop us? Yeah, exactly. Fuck them.
You don't give the government unilateral authority to execute people on the premise of a crime that hasn't been proven after the execution has already taken place. Or, as Asmon said,
who determines who a terrorist is? The person with the gun? What happens when they're wrong? Do you ever think about this?
And now more equivocating of rhetoric that comes with a bunch of claims that would each require extensive work to counter, so please don't confuse my brevity for a lack of substance.
To be fair, this was after 4 years of them trying to delegitimize
there's
Trump's
too
presidency by him being connected to Russia.
Multiple people on Trump's campaign were found guilty of crimes connected to Russia, even if the direct collusion theory some people promoted didn't pan out.
There was, remember the hashtag #NotMyPresident, where people were saying that, oh, he's just, got elected because of
Why
Russia?
am I fat rolling?
A Twitter hashtag is not indicative of people trying to delegitimize an election. Trump lost the popular vote in 2016 by a significant margin, and his many character flaws were apparent in the way he talked and operated.
While I do say that January 6th was a bad thing, I don't think that, again, Republicans did not invent election denial. And it turned out that all that, by the way, was bullshit.
Remember Al Franken? Al Franken was a senator. There was a picture that he took where he was like fake grabbing somebody's titty while they were sleeping.
Though that would be the most well-known of Franken's transgressions, he was also accused of forcibly kissing a woman who was performing with him at a USO show, once again showing that Kulinski needs to stop using Twitter as a source.
Well, I think if you want to talk about a policy decision that's like very unhinged, that makes people radicalized, I think that a good example of that is the trans in sports. Also, like trans kids using bathrooms. Now, you can make an argument that this isn't really a big issue, but if it's not a big issue, then why are you fighting it so much?
Is my hair thinning because I'm getting older, or because I find clumps of it in my hands moments after I hear comments like that? They are not some grand-scale interference in the ability of cisgender kids to get scholarships or recognition. The biological condition of those kids is not inherently an advantage either, because traits that are advantageous vary from sport to sport, before you even get to whether the kid in question has that trait to a degree that would be advantageous in the first place. It is not worth this level of national scrutiny to monitor this issue.
That argument is of the same validity of flat Earth. This is a flat Earth argument. I think loving Hitler is bad. Absolutely, it's bad.
And now for why Trump insulting everyone is acceptable, because people have been insulting him.
Okay, so what I find to be funny about this is that, yes, Trump has used negative words about Democrats, but how many times was Trump called a Nazi? How many times was he called a racist? How many times was he called a Russian asset? I would say calling somebody vermin, radical, or a lunatic is not even remotely in the same category as calling somebody a Nazi.
Trying to assert that someone isn't a Nazi at the same time they're using the exact same rhetoric Hitler used against Jews is not going to be very convincing.
I think the reason why people like Kyle were upset is that the words that they have used for many, many years, things like Nazi, racist, etc., all these bullshit words, have effectively lost all of their meaning.
They haven't lost their meaning. People have just had their sense of shame eroded by the way social media simultaneously isolates us in echo chambers and creates competition for attention via the most extreme ideologies. It's not that calling something racism doesn't mean anything. It's that racism itself doesn't mean anything because it's become so normalized that people have, ironically, built up a tolerance.
And this is after they tried to put him in jail and, you know, like fucking give him a mugshot, charged him 34 times for the same exact crime.
They didn't charge him 34 times for the same crime. He did the same crimes multiple times by funneling money through his campaign to pay off Stormy Daniels to cover up their affair.
It's pretty obvious that this has been weaponized from both directions.
Who's the biggest commentator on the right these days? Nick Fuentes. Here's some stuff Nick Fuentes has said. Quote, Hitler was really fucking cool. I admire Hitler.
And how many crazy leftist people are out there? Oh, but Hassan said this thing. What the fuck does that have to do with me? What Nick Fuentes said, like, I don't have to defend that. I didn't say that. Why the fuck would I even, like, why even bring that up? There's nothing to do with it. I will say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. It's very obvious that the Democrats have been the massively violent ones. And if you look at all these studies, by the way, that were conducted, these studies don't show a massive rise in violence that happened in 2020. They don't show the massive rises in violence that happened during the Tesla bombings, for example. And the reason why is because all of these studies are biased.
So here's the obvious thing that Asmon gets wrong about crime in 2020. There were, in fact, noticeable spikes in crime. There were also noticeable drops in others.
Oh, great.
You have 3 seconds to guess why this might have happened. It was COVID. The spikes in crime have some correlation to BLM, but it wasn't an aberration in criminality. It was the main focus of people's attention while everyone was mostly stuck inside, and therefore it became associated with the overall trends going haywire. And I'm not dismissing the idea that there was violence during BLM that wouldn't have happened without it. A police station was burned down. There was about $2 billion in property damage. But here are the FBI's own statistics, not the calculations made by whatever university you'll probably think is biased. Joe Biden didn't switch out the FBI director Trump appointed, Christopher Wray. For all intents, these are Trump's numbers: arson, larceny, and robbery, and then compare those to burglary, impersonations, and shoplifting. You can see that crimes went up or down relative to the proximity they have to other people. Unrelated, did you know that the FBI tracks how many people get charged with treason?
But any reasonable person who just looks at the news can clearly see that every single time that there is anything violent, besides maybe January 6th and maybe 1 or 2 other times, the majority of mass violence and mass hysteria is done by Democrats.
Asmon, intentionally or not, has completely forgotten the threats against school boards, the plot to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer, the Paul Pelosi hammer attack, 2020 threats against election officials, and QAnon. This is not a both sides issue. 2020 has been gradually elevated by the right-wing media as a period of extreme violence, and January 6th has been gradually minimized.
And they are justified, rationalized, and considered okay by so many liberals, and that's a huge problem. The difference between me and I think a lot of people like Kyle is that if I say something that I think is wrong, I will say, I think that was wrong, I shouldn't have said that. But the problem is that people like Kyle don't accept that.
Well, I guess we'll see.
No, that's not true. Bruh. Like, He would just not engage with anything that would challenge his worldview. Otherwise, he would have debated people by now.
This is the mindset of the people that are making videos about me, disagreeing with me, crying about me, etc.
Well, I'm definitely doing 2 of those things.
Maybe one day, once a week or so, I'll have to react to some videos and things like that that people make of me.
In the unlikely chance he actually does that for this video, I hope you can at least say I'm approaching this in good faith.
Oh, somebody fucking rat!
Jesus, bro, the damage is insane.
Oh my god, somebody fucking ratted, dude.
There's been a lot of people talking about me, and it's been great.
So Dr. K was talking about people that had, he's like trying to draw a distinction between people that have like legit like mental pathological illness versus people who just have logically come to a conclusion that their life isn't worth living. And
bro, I was the one that worked on this shit.
I think the reason why is that 80 to 90% of all self-help on the internet is just self-indulgent to make people who are doing bad things think that it's not their fault that they're doing the bad things.
Can you give an example?
You can't make
There
Babylon
are
5
guys
these
out
days?
there
Why?
that have they're incels, right? And they think that
Wait, is the franchise even still going at this point for Babylon 5?
the reason why they can't get a girlfriend is because of hoflation.
So like hoes, women, is it women having higher standards?
It's just that simple.
Well, why would they want to date someone that they think's a hoe?
Well,
because
all girls are hoes.
Oh, they're all hoes?
And so that goes back to my
Okay.
that goes back to my point, right? And so it's like this person thinks that they can't get a girlfriend because of hoflation. No, you
Okay,
can't
you
get
know
a
what?
girlfriend
Never mind.
because
I'm satisfied now.
your life is a complete mess. Nobody wants to be around you. You don't have any guy friends either, except for other weirdos on the internet. People seek out different types of people to tell them that, well, it's actually not your fault that you don't have a girlfriend. It's actually because of dating apps and these other things. They never get challenged to actually improve themselves on a personal level. They just get a fucking vicious cycle of learned helplessness. All they're doing is just feeding, it's an actual legit thing.
It's good.
It's like a feeding frenzy on making themselves feel good for doing things that are bad and then consuming media that reaffirms that the bad things they're doing aren't their fault and are in fact not the cause of the problems they have. I really, really like playing video games. I do. I love playing video games.
Is why I think Asmongold is grifting. I think so too, but I think that he, but I think he got depressed and he fucking catered to audience capture, okay? I think that's what's happened.
That's what I've been doing forever, right? And
Like,
I
he
don't
clearly
know really,
is depressed, right?
I don't know really what else besides that, because I just really like playing video games.
Mr. Beast built a theme park in Saudi Arabia because they probably gave him a ton of money.
Mr. Beast gets backlash for building wells in Africa, okay? There's so much irrational, brain-dead hate for Mr. Beast that any sort of legitimate criticism just goes away.
Most of the criticism is just that he uses the money he gives away to create content that undercuts the sense of generosity by commodifying it, even if the content itself is what allows him to provide the charity. Or Epstein-Clinton speculation.
This is why the media wanted Trump to win. Yeah, they wanted to have the first LGBT president. Exactly. Ozempic single-handedly killed the body positivity movement.
Oh my god, can we not talk about fat people? I'd honestly rather talk about Israel at this point.
It was a psyop by fat women to make their body types seen as attractive in the public eye.
Believe it or not, women don't just think about how to be attractive to men all day. And in this case, it isn't about their relationship to men, it's about their relationship with the world, and the way people, such as yourself, treat them with intense disdain despite the fact that there is no absolute correlation between someone being fat and them over-consuming food or not exercising enough.
Nobody wants to be body positive. Nobody wants to be 400 pounds. It's fat and disgusting. They wanted they wanted to have their cake and eat it too. In this case, literally, right? Now they can just take Ozempic and lose weight, and they don't need to be body positive anymore because they're weight negative. They're trans fat? Yes, exactly. It takes hunger away, but also it also kickstarts many other symptoms in your body. Well, I don't know exactly how any of that stuff works, okay? I'm not a doctor. I'm not saying that you should take Ozempic, okay?
You might not be directly saying it, but calling people who are fat ugly and disgusting, and then presenting a solution to that without a full understanding of its consequences, is basically the entire reason body positivity exists. Because for years, advertisements, especially for fashion, would present a standard of beauty that was unobtainable, and that would couple with the social expectations to create eating disorders.
None of these fat girls, if they could snap their fingers and be skinny, they would do it. Every single one of them would do it. But some of them want to act like they wouldn't because they never have the opportunity to. But you see with Ozempic that they were all lying.
Muslims in Germany want their kids to be able to wear headscarves in school. Asmon sees religious exemptions to rules about headwear as unfair overreach by people who should do more to assimilate.
If you have a school where you can only wear hats, then I think wearing headscarves is okay. But if you're wearing a headscarf, you should also be able to wear a hat. There should never be a situation where a person's religion grants them extra privileges that other people do not have.
The obligation of assimilation.
No, wrong. I think that any kind of personal practice should be okay. Otherwise, personal freedoms will be infringed upon. If something is your religion, I think you should feel free to practice it, unless it infringes on other people's personal freedoms. Like, if you have some kind of religion that, makes you want to, I don't know, consume other people, hunt and consume other people in cannibalistic practices, that's probably not okay, okay? But if you have a religion in which you can cannibalize your own body parts, okay, you know what? I'm not going to debate too much about that. You should probably do your own thing, and you know what? You're an adult, so you're going to suffer the consequences. Just do nothing on that, on the fucking mentally disabled or some shit, okay? But yeah,
comes with the understanding
unless
that
they consented otherwise.
Just because you have a religious reason to wear something doesn't mean that the entire world has to accommodate it, right?
And since that even trade doesn't happen.
And by the way, wearing something for religious reasons is just about the most inoffensive, non-people violating thing ever, unless it's a fucking Nazi badge. Actually, no, I think that at that point, you know what? I think that you should probably be legally allowed to wear a fucking Nazi like fucking armband at that point, because honestly, it's up to the school on whether or not they should allow it or not allow it, right? If they don't allow it and you still want to stay at the school, then at that point you're just trespassing, right? You're probably going to be taken out because you're trespassing. But society has to walk a very fine line, okay? That's it.
I see no reason to not be accommodating where it creates the least harm.
And you're coming in there with something on your head, well, you're breaking the rule. I don't give a fuck about your religion. Nobody cares.
Okay, but you do, because the point of contention is conformity and assimilation.
If you don't like it, go the fuck back to where you came from and then go live over there.
There are always questions to be resolved when a group integrates into another, but drawing the line at they might get to wear something on their head when everyone else doesn't is insane, given, especially in Germany, this exemption isn't just for immigrants, it's for the people who live in the country as well, and it's not exclusive to Muslims.
That's why I'm 50-50 about how Chinese deal with Muslims. It's harsh, but it works. Well, it's not about dealing with Muslims. What the fuck does that have to do with Muslims?
Again, Asmon ignores racism from his chat. During this, Asmon is asked whether doctors should get religious exemptions for procedures they don't want to perform.
It's not tricky at all. You shouldn't be compelling a doctor to do anything that goes against their own morality. So whether that is an abortion, whether that is something else, obviously a doctor should not have to do an abortion. A doctor should not have to do Botox. A doctor should not have to do plastic surgery. It's common sense, right?
Well, what about the Hippocratic Oath? So if a doctor thinks that the Hippocratic Oath is retarded, they should be able to kill people on like the fucking surgery table? Like, hello?
The state creates an expectation of a minimum standard of care that would be provided by a medical service or practitioner, and that service or practitioner refuses to provide it, leading to harm, then they are the ones doing something wrong.
Also, not only that, like, how horrific is a doctor that is anti-vax? How horrific is that? Because a doctor is supposed to be somebody you can trust to look out for your best interests. There's a reason why people take away doctor degrees and practicing licenses away from doctors, right? There's a reason why people do that, is because people do like fucking weird voodoo type shit. And then you're no longer allowed to practice because you're a fucking dipshit and you don't even know how to do things.
It is on the practitioners to opt out of providing the overall services if they are against the individual ones, because that creates the potential for greater undue harm to patients than if they were obligated to do them all, especially when you can simply opt into a specialization that doesn't include what you're against. A neurologist doesn't have to do heart surgery, but if you're a heart surgeon who doesn't believe in using animal grafts despite their efficacy, then it's up to you to decide whether heart surgery is for you.
You don't want to go and look at a graph or like some, you don't want to look at a study. All of these studies, everything like that, if it goes against your common sense and rationality, it's probably bullshit. I never trust studies. I never trust experts. I don't trust anybody. The thing that I trust is what I think. Now, if I see something that I disagree with, and there's like things that are written down, and it's like a quantified thing, I look at the reason why it's different. But at the same time, I don't start from the position that I'm wrong. I start from the position that I think I'm right. I have based everything in my life off of that, and I think that I have come to relatively good outcomes in my life. One thing that I've learned doing anything professionally is that the people that are experts and veterans in certain industries, and I think almost all industries, are generally brain dead retards.
People in specialized industries put the majority of their effort into that industry. That doesn't mean they're stupid, it just means that their other opinions are probably less informed. I'd trust Ben Carson to do brain surgery, but I would not trust him to be president.
Even doctors get shit wrong all the time.
Please trust your doctor. Thousands of people hurt themselves taking ivermectin and hydrochloroquine, and of the 1 million people who have died of COVID in the United States, it's estimated that over 300,000 who died would have lived if they got vaccinated.
And so you never, ever, ever do that. Always base things off of what you think.
And I don't want to talk to a scientist. Y'all motherfuckers lying and getting me pissed.
And if you can't do that, you need to figure out how to get your level of comprehension and your consciousness up to the point to where you can base things off of what you think.
Yeah, tell your parents you don't want to go to college with the experts. All you need are street smarts.
When would you listen to doctors? I don't know, like if I agreed with them? Yeah, if I agreed with them, if I thought it made sense.
Once again, we get evidence.
I wonder how Steve Jobs died.
That social media is frying Asmongold's brain.
Oh, God! No!
It's just a word.
No!
Feels kind of weird, man.
Just clearly control the media and the banks.
Oh, wow. This is my Instagram? I don't know. You guys want to hear what mine sounds like? Let's find out.
Hi, my fellow Labradors. It would be
another reminder that Ethan Klein and Dan Saltman would not go after Asmongold.
racist to not let the pit bulls in to join us.
I'm just going to remind this every single time Asmongold does something crazy, like crazily like anti-Semitic, okay?
That was the first scroll. That was a dog with a Jewish yarmulke on his head. Okay, so it took one.
Representative Stacey Plaskett was discovered to have been texting with Jeffrey Epstein during a 2019 congressional hearing with Michael Cohen over his relationship with Donald Trump. Wildly stupid and unforced error, to put it mildly.
But somehow, when you're texting in class, oh, that's bad. What the fuck? This really doesn't help the idea that there are people controlling the government, and it's on both sides. on a certain level,
Jesus.
it kind of makes sense. If you were looking for somebody to have in your corner that knows this stuff, it would be Jeffrey Epstein, right?
I was almost going to agree with Asmon before he said there's a secret group controlling the American government.
The left media has TDS, so they won't report on it and focus on it? I guess so, because they want to make it look like Jeffrey Epstein was a Republican thing.
Epstein was best friends with the current Republican president, who has worked very hard for most of the year to keep the Epstein files hidden, while every Democrat and every Republican except one voted to release the Epstein files. Asmongold asks and answers the age-old question, what is a woman?
This is a real response to what is a woman.
Asmon misunderstands the analogy of color being something that you cannot literally describe except as a psychological response, and decides to take that as a challenge.
Colorblindness is a disorder. So if you look at blue and you think that it's not blue, you have a disorder.
Wow. That was truly profound.
If you apply that same logic and argumentation to gender.
Cool, being trans is a mental disorder. Even in those terms, the most effective treatment is still tolerance and acceptance. Also, in terms of that analogy, we provide services and systems that allow colorblind people to function in society on their terms.
I'm pretty sure blue isn't one of the colors that people are like fucking color blindness blinded by, right? Pretty sure. Hold on. People color blindness affected by. Blindness is its perception of red and green, and less common is blue and yellow.
Instead of forcing them to adapt to colors they can't see. We don't obligate social norms to what the average capacity of a person is. We create the means for everyone to participate because that has always made things better for everyone.
I don't need to watch a YouTube video to figure out that there's two genders, okay? This is what I was talking about before, about like, oh, but there's a study that says this. No, I don't want to hear the study.
Unless someone of a particular sex presenting as another is such a severe transgression that rates of self-harm and suicidality are acceptable to you, pronouns in bio aren't that bad.
If you look at blue and you see another color, you have a disorder called colorblindness. If you look at a male and you see a female...
No, they look at blue and they perceive it as something that's blue, but they look at yellow and they can't tell the difference between yellow and blue, right? That's how colorblindness works. It doesn't work like the way that Asmongold is describing it does.
And you say that person has a disorder, now you're a right-wing Nazi.
Nobody is making the argument that trans people are literally changing their DNA and bone structure when they transition. And they aren't asking other people to lie when addressing them by preferred pronouns, any more than someone who got married is asking someone to lie when their last name changes.
How does that happen?
But hey, if you want to be an equal opportunity hater, here's another chance to get angry at a woman who went viral for claiming sexual assault.
Women get massively treated way better by the justice system than men do. It's not even remotely close. You want to talk about a privilege? That's a privilege.
Women are under greater risk of sexual assault and mistreatment in prison, as well as having more trouble receiving necessities for things like menstruation.
So this is a bureaucratic, bad faith Karen in action, weaponizing systems and different types of bureaucracy. This is how a Karen insulates itself inside of modern society. Everybody talks about like the Andrew Tate toxic male communities. This is the female equivalent to that, by the way. It's a bunch of dishonest, disingenuous, obnoxious, stupid women that get together, that hate men, that are liars.
Okay, what's actually going on here? Is it because he's like, how is he this traumatized by women? Like, it has to stop.
That try to manipulate situations, emotionally blackmail everybody, and put themselves in a position where they get to tell everybody else what to do.
No, this is someone on TikTok. They are not indicative of a broader trend or ideology. They are just a video that's gone viral for being rage bait that gets picked up by people looking for an excuse to be mad at women because social media algorithms seek engagement, which is honestly the most appropriate word for it because Asmon is married to this belief.
You want to talk about toxic male behavior, that's fine. I think there is some of that. This is toxic female behavior.
Okay, but you aren't talking about toxic male behavior. You're only talking about women.
And now we have the Karens going to jail. Oh my God! I am so happy. Wow.
The issue isn't that women can't be bad. It's that your audience doesn't make any distinction between the women who are Karens and the women who aren't. It's Karen until proven otherwise.
I love how she thinks that she matters. You're a DoorDash driver. If you died tomorrow, they wouldn't even do it. They wouldn't even know about it.
Why the fuck are we roasting DoorDash drivers? Like, they are some of the most homiest homies ever, dude. Like, why the fuck are we just like roasting DoorDash drivers? Like, hello? Have you gone insane? Who like, are you gonna go pick up your food in the middle of the night, or are they gonna deliver it to you because they're trying to make a living?
I could give you the
and they contribute to the service economy that we have right now.
Statistics that show what
that is like the jealousy of every single fucking other developed country.
The actual success rate of false accusations of sexual assault are. But why should I try to counter an anecdotal claim like that? Show me in numbers how there are so many Karens Karening all over that it would justify labeling them as an enemy of America.
This is the enemy of America right here. It's not the Jews.
This is the girl that filmed the guy naked passed out on his couch. Okay,
It's not the black people. It's not the Middle East. It's not even all the Muslims. Optics-obsessed, virtue-signaling, obnoxious, privileged Karens that will import every problem from the rest of the world into America. And they will also manipulate, lie. That!
But dude, this is just like bisexual, like all women know how to do is like be bisexual, eat hot chip and lie. Like, oh my god. Like we've, like, by the way, these like fucking boomer comics about how much they hate their wives, like we just wrapped back around to that. Like, dude, time is a fucking flat circle, dude. Holy shit.
Is the prime evil in America. Not Jews. A lot of people want it to be Jews, but I think this is the real problem. Do you hate women? No, but I hate women like her.
Oh, well, that certainly undoes saying that Karens are enemies of America.
Okay.
Hopefully you don't go into an explanation of why the Mexican protests you support all are right because there's no time to not be anti-Semitic while the government is corrupt.
And what if she is Jewish? Ooh, uh-oh. Puta Judea.
Why would you...
I don't think that I need a translator.
Who cares if they're Jewish?
Guys?
Hello?
I think I know exactly what that one means.
We've reached the final level of the horseshoe as Asmongold excuses anti-Semitism because the people doing it don't have time to not be anti-Semitic.
Maybe
people
he
care
and
about
Hassan
race. You might not like that.
together,
I might not like that, but it's true. And also, by the way, oh my God, the whole protest is anti-Semitic. Well, actually, okay, to be fair, I caught this. Guys, I think I know who's been watching all those Instagram reels.
Unironically, you have just figured out the problem I'm pointing to.
People don't give a shit about these like weird tone policing rules whenever they don't have any fucking food and they can't live in a way that has any degree of dignity. And
not enough fucking food. Trump, dude, the Republicans and Trump are the ones trying to take away SNAP benefits. Like, let's not pretend that they care about food. Also, not only that, normally, like, starvation isn't really an issue in the fucking United States anymore. Like, that's just not really a thing. You can access cheap food, but that doesn't mean that it's nutritious food, right? The average fucking KFC fucking, like, what is it? Like, one fucking jar of, like one fucking bucket of chicken is, like, what, like, $10? That's nothing for how much calories that is, right? But it's obviously horrible for your health, okay? It's about nutrition, not about starvation.
Many of the revolutionists are furious that a woman who is not a Catholic... Sorry, these things matter to people. You might not like that reality, but you still gotta live in it. They're a bitch Jew, of course it's relevant. Yeah, of course it does. Representation matters, right? Yeah. Do you think people are gonna call them anti-Semitic in the US? They already are.
It's just horseshoes all the way down. And you guessed it, more women on the internet are bad.
Ronaldo doesn't understand this maybe, but there's a bunch of fat, ugly, disgusting middle-aged women that are on social media. They want you to replace your audience of other young guys that like abrasive, edgy, funny, just general male humor.
We get it. You don't like it when mom tells you to go to bed.
These are the women that are in the PTA. They're in the fucking, they're in the HR department. They're the ones in the PR department. They're the ones complaining to your boss. They're the ones in the in the bureaucracy.
No,
this
KFC
is what they do.
What?
They're the fucking school moms.
Oh my God. He admitted.
Imagine me going on Twitter and some retarded hog says on social media, "Oh, you shouldn't say this." Shut the fuck up, bitch. You're gonna tell me what I can and can't say.
Friendly.
Who the fuck are you? And it's also, I don't want to make people think it's all women doing this. Like, this isn't like a men versus women thing.
He says before.
What's happiness of a Karen? The happiness of a Karen is the same principle as of a vampire. And did this stupid bitch block me? I'll stop taking part in toxic politics whenever left-wing people stop calling you a Nazi or a Hitler or a fascist whenever you want to enforce immigration law.
Once again, the topic of misleading data about left-wing versus right-wing violence comes up, and a chatter actually calls Asman out when he says he doesn't trust the government.
Riding hard for the government? What the fuck does that even mean?
It means that you're okay with blowing up Venezuelan boats without evidence, deporting people without evidence, cutting government programs that have showcased decades of benefits in international diplomacy and trade, and every other thing done by Donald Trump while declaring that he is completely innocent of any wrongdoing despite being the closest person to Jeffrey Epstein amongst every person connected to him.
I think you choose what to trust. I do. Absolutely, I choose what to trust. You should try it sometime. It would help you.
Help has a very loose definition here. Hassan in China.
The problem with what Hassan is saying is that I very strongly agree with most of it, but I don't agree with part of it.
Once again, I am shocked that Asman can accurately explain a concept.
Horseshoe?
Not because I think
Hello?
it's dumb, but because you think it creates some cognitive dissonance.
I think he's right that the best antidote to xenophobia is experience. A lot of us have probably had that happen ourselves, where you met somebody from a country that you had a predisposition towards, like positive or negative, and that person changed your predisposition by talking with them. But at the same time, the actions of a government do not represent the will of its people necessarily, especially in countries like China, Russia, or apparently Mexico, right?
But then he's back to 8th Amendment violations.
Can we just do lashings instead? No.
Friendly.
I don't want to. I mean, okay. I think that there's a place for creative kinetic punishment.
What?
Recruit trainee John Rico is sentenced to administrative punishment. 10 lashes.
You've got to really save that. That way it has a lot of, it has emphasis when it happens.
And while looking at a propaganda video of China's surveillance technology, Asmon mentions his perspective on police clearance rates and how the world combats terrorism.
I'm not sure about that. The murder solve rate's only 70%. If we had the surveillance in our home country, I feel like it'd be higher. No, it's not. Do you want to know why they don't solve a lot of cases? It's because they don't care.
Solving murders is actually really
thank you
hard,
so much
and
for
the
tier
reason you
2.
see people who commit heinous crimes getting caught isn't because Clarice spoke to Hannibal. It's because the people who do those crimes are usually really stupid. CSI technology looks so advanced because of how intensive it needs to be to scrape information out of a crime scene, which is indicative of the difficulty.
Don't forget when they blew up all those blew up all the pagers and wiped out a terrorist organization in one day. They could stop all those terrorists. They choose not to. I also think that there is a degree of that that's true.
The pager attack, while impressive as an operation, did not wipe out Hezbollah. Israel is still bombing Lebanon because of Hezbollah activity.
I mean, I think this is badass. I'm going to be honest. This is crazy. And, like, we need to have this for some people that do things here, too. Like, I'm not saying I want a surveillance state,
but everything you've said you wanted the government to do requires a surveillance state.
I don't know if it's just where I live or not, but ever since that whole Epstein thing started getting popular, I've been seeing, like, way more lizards.
What?
And then we go back to Mexico for a Fox News interview with these two right-wing nutjobs who do a podcast. And before
what is lizard supposed to mean?
Nutjobs as a dismissive insult.
Concretamente estamos en guerra contra una familia que en la declaración de Balfour es la que fundó el Estado de Israel, que podemos hablar de eso.
A what blueprint? A what blueprint? Sorry? Can I have it?
You guys can take what's left. Alright, just let me leave, okay?
Oh my god, they're taking everything. Holy cow.
Que es la familia Rothschild, ¿vale? Y esa familia concretamente nunca ha sido auditado su patrimonio. Entonces, Elon Musk tiene más ni de coña. O sea, ni de coña. Elon Musk no es la persona más rica del planeta ni la más poderosa, te lo puedo garantizar. Hay familias que tienen muchísimo más patrimonio, pero como no sabemos verdaderamente qué es lo que tienen y qué es lo que dejan de tener, porque han diversificado en esta estructura bursátil todo su poder y todo su monopolio, que lo tienen, ¿por qué más? O sea, llega un punto en el que ni en 25 millones de generaciones se pueden gastar lo que han amasado. Entonces yo digo, es que no puede ser solo el dinero, aquí tiene que haber algo más metafísico, tiene que haber algo más espiritual, tiene que haber algo mucho más profundo. Y ahí es donde entra el tema de vamos a juzgar qué es lo que ellos atacan siempre. Pues siempre atacan la moral católica, la moral cristiana.
Y oye, Jota, dos puntos ahí muy interesantes. La parte del capitalismo, que tienes opiniones muy diferentes a lo que la gente común piensa acerca de. Pero esta parte de Jesús, de Cristo, de los católicos, de esta guerra en contra del catolicismo. ¿Por qué crees que hay tanto odio en contra de Jesús? En contra del verdadero Dios.
Porque es lo que daría mayor poder a las personas para no ser controladas.
Did Fox even check what these guys talk about on their podcast?
I'm sure there's like a degree of partisan politics that's attached to everything, but this is primarily a identity revolt rather than a political revolt, which is insane.
Once again, Asmon misunderstands the capabilities of the U.S. military.
If you put experienced Navy SEALs and generals that actually want to end this war, how long do you think it would take them to totally figure out, map out, and completely eliminate every single one of those people? I would say less than 6 months.
This is the exact same line of thinking that got the U.S. stuck in Iraq for over a decade.
It's at 2 weeks, yeah. I mean, come on, guys. What are we talking about?
And then Asmon says he'd support regime-changing Mexico if their police started shooting protesters.
Basically, regime change their government. Which, I mean, by the way, I would support that. I would completely support that.
Yeah, I enjoy tacos.
There's no way that we should have a country that is a bordering country of ours that is a PvP server.
I can only speculate, but I think this belief is downstream of thinking that Venezuelan boats are okay to blow up as well.
What's the goal when they get through? You don't want to know. What do you think? What do you think happens? What do you think happens when they get through and they get to all the people in the government? 1, 2, 3. I know that one. This
Can you speak? I don't play Peak.
Is that the media is part
I just
of
want
the
to shoot
Uniparty.
things.
And the Uniparty is the one thing that they are more afraid of than anything else is for identity politics to die. And a protest like this is a protest that transcends identity politics. Well, I think the BBC is a totally biased, completely...
What does he think, like, any kind of, like, does he think, like, when women are marching in the streets in Iran, like, they're trying to argue, like, they're trying to... What? That the government, that the Islamic revolutionist government is, like, trying to control people via gender identity? Like, what are you talking about?
Partisan network. Cool. You shouldn't trust anything that they say. They're total bullshit, and they're all liars.
Because Trump said,
I know that everyone here will soon be marching over to the Capitol building to peacefully and patriotically make your voices heard.
In a speech that also included,
So, let's have trial by combat. We will never give up. We will never concede.
Are you serious?
You'll never take back our country with weakness. You have to show strength, and you have to be strong. We will not take it anymore. And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
And the result was a group of people assaulting cops to force their way into a building, and based on your reaction to the rioting in Mexico...
They're January 6ing, I'm proud of them. They're January 6ing? What's the goal when they get through? What do you think happens when they get through and they get to all the people in the government?
You know what they wanted to do in there. Asmon's getting upset that they didn't include his one mention of being peaceful, not because they're biased, but because they didn't provide an excuse to exonerate him.
Why would you edit Trump's speech in that way? Well, it's because you're biased.
He talks about the Epstein files some more. It's nothing we haven't heard already.
Yeah, he's mentioned, but that doesn't mean that he did anything wrong. If it's a hoax, then just release it and show everybody that it's bullshit. Like, I don't even understand the logic here.
And while Marjorie Taylor Greene tries to pivot towards not being a Jewish space laser nut job, Asmon sees her as capitulating to the media and creating a permission structure for people to move away from the right. His phrasing is a little word salady. Maybe you get something different.
This is what mainstream media does, is they try to manufacture consensus by having a degree of... Like, kind of, they create an ecosystem that allows them to manufacture consensus about different issues. And I think this is a good example of them doing that.
But the point is that he doesn't think the left will accept her because she used to be in the bag for Trump.
It doesn't matter how many apologies you do. It doesn't matter anything. You will always be the Trump person. Like, the boats are burned. The bridge is burned. It's never going to happen. Like, the problem is these people are, like, defined by purity testing. That you're not going to apologize to them and then have them vote for you.
It's not purity testing to say that someone who rode the wave of QAnon to get elected to Congress and harass school shooters needs to do more to show that they've had a change of heart. Not every judgment is based solely on in-group, out-group.
Trying to apologize and capitulate to Democrats or leftists will never work. It will never work, and it will only make people more frustrated with you.
To be clear,
but that's
this
what
messaging is what makes
MTG
it so
is
hard
doing.
to reach people. The idea that you won't be accepted, so you might as well entrench yourself on one side regardless of what actually happens. If you agree with a lot of what someone like Kyle Kulinski wants for the country, then you aren't capitulating because the plans being put in place are still intended to go in the same direction you want, and your input will be appreciated. Being conservative isn't, in itself, a bad thing. Obviously, a lot of people on the far left on the internet have a maximalist view of things and say that you're immoral if you don't want to spend all of the money on all of the things.
Isn't inherently a bad thing? I don't know about that.
But they're taking hypotheticals too literally. We need people with reasonable expectations of budgetary, economic, and even social changes, so that we can take time and use experimentation to get things right. But cultural nonsense has infected every debate and dialogue such that every possible point of negotiation becomes a hill to die on, and that has allowed more and more extreme people to get away with worse and worse things. If I told Asmongold 5 years ago that Trump was using the military to kill people in the middle of the ocean on the premise of them being terrorists without proper evidence, he would say that's bad. But now, if he doesn't defend that, then the rest of the defenses collapse. You can think that people knowingly trafficking drugs like fentanyl into the United States deserve to die on the spot, but you should be able to recognize that allowing the state to actually do that is an opening for much worse abuses of power. And when those abuses happen and they're defended, the abuses can once again get worse. At some point you have to say that even though I'm not against what's happening, I don't want something worse to happen in its place.
I think that in 2026, if they have the midterm elections...
The fact that you'll say if we still have elections is exactly why people take issue with your politics.
What's wrong? What's wrong, fat bitch?
Jesus. Dude, he is not okay. Holy shit.
Oh no.
I drink what I want, when I want.
So what is all this racist ass shit that you've been saying?
What the fuck? Only 10 were actually kids? Ugh. So that means they're going to end up being sent to a high school with kids and they're an adult?
Well, I mean...
Don't forget homophobic.
Oh, yeah.
Misogynistic.
Chance of success, number of women involved. Is this for video games? No,
What
it's
the
for
hell?
a relationship. Yeah, I would have agreed with it either way. Yeah, for everything?
Why was he shooting
at
at
doesn't it?
Wait, why'd you shoot at me? What the fuck? I passed you.
0.6% of the population. But if you look at media representation, you'd think that they're like 10 or 20%.
Fat phobic.
You guys notice there aren't any fat people in this game?
Poor people.
And I would reduce foreign aid by about 80%. I would even take people that
That's
were
fucked
residents
up.
of the country.
That's
if
fucked
they
up.
were not net positive taxpayers and they were not performing an essential job, I'd deport them too. You know, there are just some things that you see that really put things into perspective, don't they?
Friendly. So, dude, some motherfucker shot me. I passed him. I was friendly.
One day more.
Get him.
You
Get his
make it
ass.
Too big to rig? That's a fact. Well, we thought we did that with Black Myth Wukong, but unfortunately, the Game Awards was using the 3/5 compromise, where Chinese players only count for 3/5 of a vote of an American player, right, guys?
That doesn't even make sense.
Somebody took a picture of me and my stomach was sticking out a bit, and I just stopped eating food. I stopped. No, obviously you don't need any food. Look at that. If you needed food, you wouldn't look like that.
Oh, now it makes sense.
Body shaming? It's not body shaming, it's body accountability. Okay, you've got to be accountable for being a fat piece of shit.
Deja vu all over again.
Well, I already said that before. You end 9 wars and you suck 1 dick. I don't think it's going to be anything damaging for Trump that's going to come out. People say he's like a mob boss. Like, he probably would have edited the files or changed them or something like that. I don't think he would want to release the files if they would incriminate him to be a pedophile, right?
I need Asmon to square his approval of Trump with the recognition that he'd manipulate the documents that would expose him as a pedophile, and that doing so would make the entire file release worthless because you wouldn't know what was legitimate and what was altered for the benefit of Trump or the people Trump would want to protect.
You know, we'll see what happens.
Oh my god, now Claudia Scheinbaum is a Karen because she doesn't want to send the Mexican military to fight the cartels.
Do you remember what I said yesterday about how a Karen mind has to exist inside of a bureaucracy? Like, a bureaucracy and the mind of a Karen are one and the same thing. This is it. So let me get this straight. Because the law says you can't go after the people that are causing problems, then I guess we just have to let the people cause problems. No, you change the law or you ignore it. If you have a rule and the rule leads you to chaos, what reason do you have the rule for?
Because we're not all Anton Chigurh thinking in absolutes about a coin toss dictating life and death.
Never actually give a fuck about rules, guys. Like, every rule can be changed. Every rule was written by a council of old geriatric retards. Obviously, you have to follow the law as an individual citizen, but whenever you're talking about like how to change your country and how to improve your country, you should not look at the existing rules and say, well, that's as far as we can go.
Does he realize this perspective completely undoes literally every argument that he's made about immigration that isn't justified by cultural bias?
Your chat became anti-Semitic as fuck? Yeah, there's a lot of people that don't like Jewish people, and they don't like Israel, and she's a Jew. That's true. Like, in an unmoderated platform.
Just a reminder, okay? Ethan Klein and Dan Clancy doesn't think Asmongold is a big deal. Oh, nice.
That's what happens. I don't agree with that. I'm not anti-Semitic. I don't even really like. I don't like what Israel's government's doing. I think Israel's government's problematic in a lot of ways. But if you want me to go around and like ban every single person that said something that you might see as anti-Semitic, that's just not going to happen. Like, if you think they're saying something bad, just report them. And the crazy stuff does get banned. I don't want to hear this. I don't care about this. The words mean nothing to me. Okay, like don't waste my fucking time.
You're not personally anti-Semitic, but you're not willing to actually do anything about anti-Semitism within your sphere.
Yes, that's right. So if you kill the people that are being violent, then you're just going to have more violence. No. So at first they came for the cartels, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't part of the cartels. And after that, they came after the drug dealers and murderers, and I didn't speak out because I wasn't a drug dealer and murderer. And then after that, they stopped coming for people because the problems went away.
You have completely missed the point, and also that was anti-Semitic, so good job. Why do I need to explain that it's actually much harder to deal with people who have guns than just throwing the military at them? That there's a real human cost to these choices, and that we should be wary of leaders who are so enthusiastic about their willingness to throw people in the meat grinder just because overall you have more to expend.
Oh, by the way, fascism is when the government is controlled by a paramilitary organization that kills people extrajudicially.
That is not what fascism is. More hating women.
That's right, you stupid bitch. Get out of here.
Actually, you know what? Let me give you a rundown.
Yes.
Wikipedia says fascism is characterized by support for a dictatorial leader.
I don't think it's going to be anything damaging for Trump that's going to come out.
Centralized autocracy.
Hire 250,000 government workers overall. Nobody fucking critic.
Good. It should have been more.
Militarism.
Because it's the right thing to do. It is. Absolutely. Blow up the boats.
Forcible suppression of opposition.
I have a fucking, like a directive, a mandate by God, okay? To get rid of as much of this woke millennial slop that I possibly can. And that's why I do it, by the way. I do it because I know it bothers them. It upsets them and it bothers them and it scares them. And I will continue doing it until they stop doing the things that I don't like.
Belief in a natural social hierarchy.
I would even take people that were residents of the country. If they were not net positive taxpayers and they were not performing an essential job, I'd deport them too. And so guys should have a complete monopoly on making games.
Net positive taxpayers? What does that even mean? Like, they pay more taxes than they get back in refunds? Or, like, what does that mean? The fuck?
Yes.
What does that even mean?
Subordination of individual interest for the perceived interest of the nation or race.
I would want to use the military to deport every illegal alien in the country. I would want to bring back insane asylums and put crazy people in insane asylums. So just put them in jail. Simple.
and strong regimentation of society and the economy.
And if girls want to make games, they should make their own games. You have Stardew Valley, you have Animal Crossing, you have Pokemon.
Opposed to more left-wing ideologies such as democracy.
I think that in 2026, if they have the midterm elections...
Britannica says the characteristics are extreme militaristic nationalism.
Not in the Western Hemisphere, not in our backyard, because that destabilizes trade, it destabilizes economies. It's the security of the United States at stake.
Stardew was made by one man. Shh. He's transgender now.
Contempt for electoral democracy.
They're January 6ing, I'm proud of them. They're January 6ing.
A belief in a natural social hierarchy and the rule of elites.
Elon Musk took over Twitter, fired 80% of the staff, and nothing changed to the product. In fact, I think the product got better.
And a desire to create a German word that I'm not going to try pronouncing.
If you have a rule, and the rule leads you to chaos, what reason do you have the rule for? And now we have the Karens going to jail. Oh my God!
Webster's defines fascism as a populist political philosophy, movement, or regime.
And so you never, ever, ever do that. Always base things off of what you think.
That exalts nation and often race above the individual.
Then why the fuck do we keep importing people?
That is associated with a centralized autocratic government.
Because the law says you can't go after the people that are causing problems, then I guess we just have to let the people cause problems. No, you change the law or you ignore it.
Headed by a dictatorial leader.
And do you not feel bad for telling people to vote for him? No. No, he's done a lot of things that I agree with.
And that is characterized by severe economic and social regimentation and by forcible suppression of opposition.
And
doesn't everybody get fascist when their parents die? No, I think Asmongold is just projecting. Okay.
People like this, in my opinion, they need to be put in a mental institution and just kept there until they stop being crazy or they die. I don't know, either one. But yeah, it's not.
And even if you take all of those as left-wing biased shills, Conservapedia says that the characteristics of fascism include a belief that the state is more important than the individual.
So the U.S. government can read a license plate with a satellite, but you think that a Twitter post that said that the people were innocent is more accurate than that.
A leaning towards authoritarian government and violence.
If you steal from a store, instant mandatory prison time. Even if you stole.
Preference for centralized economic planning.
And if they don't want to get along with that, then I wouldn't give them access to the American economy and I would heavily tariff them.
An emphasis on nationalism and national traditions.
And you're coming in there with something on your head, well, you're breaking the rule. I don't give a fuck about your religion. Nobody.
How much work did it take to start categorizing Asmongold as a fascist and run him down the beliefs? I mean, this is above and beyond editing, not editing, but trying to find the clips, right? Because I would imagine a lot of the difficulty comes from trying to find the specific clips that Asmongold talks about in order to define these specific things. So yeah, that probably takes a lot of work.
Cares. If you don't like it, go the fuck back to where you came from and then go live over there.
Militarism.
If you put experienced Navy SEALs and generals that actually want to end this war, how long do you think it would take them to totally figure out, map out, and completely eliminate every single one of those people? I would say less than 6 months.
Information control and censorship.
If it's a hoax, then just release it and show everybody that it's bullshit.
Media propagation of the great leader, which demonizes and trivializes his critics.
If you are intentionally redacting a name that was previously unredacted publicly, you're doing that because you're trying to mislead people.
And a rejection of both free enterprise and socialism in favor of corporatist economic policies.
Good. They weren't doing their job.
The characteristics of fascism also include rampant cronyism and corruption.
Yeah, he's mentioned, but that doesn't mean that he did anything wrong.
As well as rigged elections.
If they have the midterm elections.
And a general disdain for free speech and human rights.
A human rights violation. According to who? Somebody who disagrees with you? Oh, okay. Well, let's just listen to them tell you why you're wrong. No, I don't think so.
Fascism has several tenets to it, with enough fluidity between them that no pillar is truly central until it needs to be, and then it can be replaced with another depending on what is necessary at the time to placate the masses. You might have once heard that fascism needs an enemy that is simultaneously strong enough to negatively affect your life, but weak enough that it can be easily fought and defeated.
This is the enemy of America right here.
This is the means by which that enemy is created, and the populace is held in a constant state of war against them. When a pillar is moved, so too is the definition of the enemy.
We need to start looking at people that are crazy, and we need to put all of the crazy people in a box that says mental institution, and we just keep them there. And then everybody else can live in paradise.
We just need to keep women out of things that I don't like.
Yes.
Strictly enforce the law on immigrants and the mentally ill, which includes queer people.
Yeah, it's too brutal. We'll make them do big rocks and little rocks. Well, yeah, I don't think we should kill them. I don't think so at all. It's a waste of labor.
Bully people into conformity.
It was a psyop by fat women to make their body types seen as attractive in the public eye.
Lie when it benefits you.
Lie on your resume. Lie in your interview. Lie in your tutorial. Lie while you're doing your job. And the only time you don't do that is if it's against the law. Terrible advice. It worked for me.
Don't trust the decadent elite.
One thing that I've learned doing anything professionally is that the people that are experts and veterans in certain industries and I think almost all industries, are generally brain-dead retards.
Embrace the traditional level of anti-Semitism.
If they want to unban Sneeko, I'd be fine with that. I like Sneeko. I think he's a great guy. I don't agree with everything he says, obviously.
Down with the Yahud! Down with the Yahud!
So, yeah, I think they should unban him. Why wouldn't they? It's been driving me fucking crazy because I just keep forgetting about it. And...
Wait!
Magnify.
Okay.
Yeah, Asmongold has been... We gotta do a stream. Does he want me to reach out to him?
I don't know if Twitch is ready for that one yet. Now, I will say it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. You're just making this up because you don't want somebody that you disagree with to be on the fucking computer, right?
You're saying that Hitler was not a bad guy?
If we're going to say Hitler bad, then I'm going to say Churchill bad, and I'm going to say Roosevelt bad, and I'm going to say they're all bad. But if we look at him as a product of his time in that moment...
I think loving Hitler is bad. Absolutely, it's bad.
Support conspiracy theories.
Somebody else is running our government. Who?
Fucking based. Absolutely 100% true. I completely agree with him. Absolutely.
I mean, the answer seems to be clear. There's no question Epstein was working with Israel.
Israel was gaining a benefit from him, but I think it could be possible that Epstein could have been an unwilling participant.
Ignore the law so we can kill all the people who are causing problems.
Never actually give a fuck about rules, guys.
Okay.
Like, every rule can be changed. Every rule was written by a council of old geriatric retards.
And then society will be perfect. Why does Asmon take offense to being called a fascist? In the 1 week I've watched him, hell, just today, he has endorsed every core aspect of the ideology.
And we just keep them there. And then everybody else can live in paradise.
Also, why does the "and then we would have paradise" line sound so familiar?
No, it's not women. No, it's not blacks. It's actually really complicated. No, it fucking isn't at all. Jews are running society. Women need to shut the fuck up. Blacks need to be imprisoned for the most part. And we would live in paradise.
He's saying the same thing Nick Fuentes said.
Everybody else is going to be... everything in the world is going to instantly get better. The whole world is going to improve instantaneously. We just put all the crazy people in a box, and then everybody else can go do what they want. And now I get this. I get this. I don't even know what that is. It's a bigger number. A yeller. Oh, wow. XQC says Asmongold has been pretty unhinged the last few months and calls his chat pretty radical. Maybe I take it a little bit too far sometimes. And I generally don't really explain what I think because I think that in doing so, you capitulate to people that are bad actors. Like, I think anybody going out there saying some crazy genocidal mass murder person is good. I think the problem with this type of analysis is that there's no differentiation between real fascism and terminally online 4chan edgelordism. What? Like by Asmongold? Yeah, I agree. Asmongold doesn't make a differentiation between the two, and that's why people will take advantage of that. And you know what? It doesn't even matter, okay? Because fascism is evil. Right, boom. Yeah, you should probably get suspended for that. Again, like, I take somebody like him saying something like this about me, like, actually seriously, and I'll think about it, rather than, you know, like a Reddit thread or like a tweet or something like that, especially from somebody that I know doesn't even like me, doesn't even know me, right? And so that's it.
When Mel Brooks took his script for the producers to his producer, they were initially very concerned about making a satire of Adolf Hitler, even if it was in the context of characters in the story trying to be offensive on purpose.
Because they said...
No, dude, you're being too autistic again, okay? You're like overthinking it. Like, you're unironically overthinking it again, okay?
Hitler is too strong, too menacing. How about springtime for Mussolini?
This was 1966, and memories of the Holocaust were still fresh in the minds of people who had been liberated from the camps, as well as the soldiers who did the liberating. To make light of this was to make light of their trauma, and Hitler was the personification of it. But Mel pushed on and said it had to be Hitler, because he understood something they didn't, that the joke he was making wasn't at the expense of the audience. He wasn't really trying to make a joke at all, he was trying to reveal one. In The Producers, the characters are trying to put on a sincere perforance of a show that glorifies Hitler, actual Nazi propaganda, but a last-minute...
Bro, dude, well, okay, alright, this game needs to chill right now. But none of this matters, okay? Alright? Just don't be weird.
Substitution of the actor who plays the Fuhrer himself with the, cross-dressing director they hired for the play meant that instead of a serious performance, they got a whimsical one.
I leave you, baby, I leave you. Now leave me alone.
And that one change completely upends the context. It reveals the extent of the pageantry and the absurdity that made the Nazis' propaganda so effective. It was the very fact itself that you couldn't make fun of them that gave them power. All the performances of strength they used to build themselves up were built on the fact that it all had the implicit threat of violence behind it.
Thelonious, you were saying?
The more absurd it was, the greater the strength it conveyed. And once the threat was removed, all that was left was the insecurity that comes with telling people not to laugh at you.
I got you, King. I got you, Kaya.
diet. Please. Get down.
The Fuhrer had no clothes. Stop me if you've heard this one. A man goes to the doctor, says he's depressed. Life isn't worth living anymore. The doctor says the cure is simple. Go see the great clown Pagliacci. The man bursts into tears. He says, but doctor, I am Pagliacci. There's a lot of fear, a lot of anger, a lot of resentment, and a lot of pain. And there's a lot of anxiety. And the anxiety entrenches all the rest because it tells you that change is impossible, that being happy is perpetually out of reach, that other people will reject you. So you reject them first. You accept the labels put on you as
What, you don't know conduit? It's just conduit.
a badge of honor, because at least then it's on your own terms.
I'm too lazy, okay?
I am a Mongoloid. That's not something to be proud of. It is something to be proud of. You want to talk racism? I can be way more racist
Oh yeah, leaning into the meme as a tactic? Yeah.
than you, Angloid.
Maybe Asmongold is happy in the way he lives his life, but his presentation as someone who's happy is why he's so popular. For some, he's the clown, unaware that people are laughing at him.
Has it ever occurred to you that maybe the research was done in a way that was bad?
And for others, he's the aspiration. Instead of needing to change, you can simply learn to not care what people think.
You get all these strings attached to you, bro. And you get enough strings attached to you and you become a puppet.
But no one is truly capable of doing that, because we see other people as what they present, and we see ourselves as what we feel. That's what self-talk is built out of. Your inner monologue uses the face of someone else to speak, but it uses your voice. If you're worried someone else will laugh at you, that's because you think something is worth making fun of.
You just blowing from stupid town?
And that makes people put up their guard and reject vulnerability, and deny themselves what they feel and what would make them happy. It's easier to be numb than it is to be sad. But really, you aren't numb, because all that pressure you need to push down those feelings just makes them that much more forceful.
I'm a nice, easygoing man. I might be a little bit indecisive at times.
Lashing out at perceived slights, looking for some justification to allow yourself to embrace the negativity. The Sopranos was a show all about how Tony was constantly pushing down his feelings in order to force himself into the idea of who he wanted to be, and how miserable it made him as a result. Breaking Bad is the same. So is practically every Martin Scorsese movie. We make ourselves miserable because we try to fit ourselves into other people's molds, and the more warped it makes us, the more we squeeze to try and fit. And so, like Asmon said about conspiracies, you feel worse, and so you put up more defenses, and that makes you feel even worse, so you put up even more. And eventually, you're sitting alone, constantly needing to justify to yourself that this is okay, because everyone else is terrible anyway. And at that point, the solution shifts from putting up more guards yourself to getting everyone else to put up their own.
And when everyone's super.
No one's super.
No one will be.
Women are Karens, immigrants are criminals, woke is trying to take over. I've talked about horseshoe theory throughout all of this, and this is the true point of connection, a desire to have the world conform to your standard so that everyone has the same guards up.
Pretty soon, everyone will embrace sadness, and there'll be no such thing as smiling!
In a moment where Asmon tries to put forward the idea that people who commit political violence can't be judged on the politics because they're acting in a way that's crazy, he manages to touch on the issue I'm talking about.
Like, you shouldn't be looking at what they're saying and trying to blame this on a political party. Yeah, obviously, like, you can talk about how political parties, like, enable violence and certain types of rhetoric, etc. And their mindset is so far removed from what an average person believes or thinks or behaves. So you trying to use logic to reverse engineer their thinking won't work because they didn't use logic to get there in the first place.
Asmon's touching on the idea that you can't rational someone out of an idea they got to irrationally. I don't think that's necessarily a universal truth, but I do think this is an awareness you need to have about yourself and your own understanding of how you come to certain conclusions. The fundamental issue Asmon misses here is that the rhetoric and political ideology are what create the thought process in people capable of committing violence. It's not that they couldn't find other excuses, it's that the ideology and the rhetoric
Just came back with potatoes. 27H no sleep. You too should have some potatoes. Merry Christmas everyone, have potatoes PLS.
Why are you 27 hours no sleep? That's not good. Thank you for the 50 PLN though.
are how people come to conclusions about how to live and how to act. Someone who isn't a Nazi wouldn't necessarily believe that it's heroic to sacrifice yourself in a blaze of glory for a cause dedicated to racial superiority, but when you're a Nazi, that's the goal.
I have the opposite of insomnia, okay? I have sleepy girl syndrome, okay? The moment I get into bed, I sleep within 5 minutes, alright? And then I because typically when I'm in class, back in college, I would fall asleep so fast, which made me buy Reese's Cups beforehand in order to binge eat during class, so then I'm able to stay awake because of my ADHD as well, so then I can focus on what's being taught, and that basically gave me pre-diabetes, okay? Welcome to my life. All right.
Politicians and pundits provide the means by which we can turn the inscrutable feelings we have about the world into something we can put words to. Some people will find themselves attracted to certain ideas and descriptions that satisfy certain feelings at the expense of others, and the result is that they won't ever be able to deal with the underlying problems they have, creating the frustration that leads to stronger outbursts.
Some people find Jesus, some people find Alex Jones, Some people find Antifa.
Saying that someone's mental illness is the main culprit is thought terminating. It allows you to justify and hold onto a way of thinking that continues to ignore deeper problems you might have, instead of trying to reconcile what it is about your ideology that could drive people in that direction.
Research doesn't lie, Jenna. It lets us know what we're thinking. What's too boring, what's too gay, what's too old.
The most common belief in the people who commit violent political acts is that they are ultimately saving people. The white supremacists think they're saving vulnerable white people from racial domination, the extremists on the far left think they're saving vulnerable people from their own persecution, and everyone thinks at some level that the Jews are behind it all. Ultimately, in both cases, these actions are about satisfying those surface level feelings at the expense of the deeper ones.
At least I can deal with my own problems. Unlike some I know.
And the endless analysis we get of what motivation people have are in turn about soothing that denial in everyone who will, in some way, do the same thing without the violent tendencies. But it is the ideologies on the right that put more focus on the idea of committing this kind of violence, that there is glory in the fight, and that blood and honor are the most important things.
And we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
This is a story about big, hairy, muscular men killing each other and dying for honor, glory, tradition.
And while we can find the fictional narratives that explore these beliefs fun, we have to recognize that when they're brought into the real world, they're destructive to how we interact with one another. In truth, it's a way to force people to feel the way you do, and there are people who will take advantage of that. I think that's the biggest irony here. Every claim about Karens Asman has made is one that he himself has endorsed, but on his terms.
This is bad. I am so fucking upset, and these retards are sitting here making these award shows for other retards, and it's making me mad.
They never get challenged to actually.
Have you guys seen Asmongold's villain speech about his cat? Sorry. It's kind of insane, but I'll try to show it after this, okay?
Improve themselves on a personal level. They just get a fucking vicious cycle of learned helplessness.
Okay. Good video. Yeah. Let me see. Asmongold cat rant. It's so weird. Like, why would he say this? Love Condre, he fucking never misses. It's good, I guess. It's alright. Let me see. What was it called? Asmongold. Playing hard to get. Comment you like that video. I'm a smaller content creator, okay? Asmongold. Villain. New. Okay. What? Relevance? What is this? Shoot Fops? That's enough asking for a week, I know, right? Holy shit. New. Good night. Okay, see ya, bye. Weird. Okay, what's this?
Hey guys, it's
I've been living like an animal for 13 years. I've been leaving soon. Bye, Aspiring. I might not be able to find it. Evil Foodshops be like, I love Asmongold. True. Former UFC champion praises Asmongold. Where is it? Fuck. Live stream fail. Would evil Fuchsia still have black hat energy? What's that even mean? New. Asmongold should just be like, Asmongold has problems, so both sides have problems. True. Oh. I can't find it. Sorry. Fuck me. Oh well. Dude cost will have golden retriever energy. Oh, removed by moderator Pebble think. Oh, you mean the gambling sponsorship thing? Yeah, it's been removed. You can't speak ill about Mutin and Dan. Wait, hold on. Okay, I'm gonna go to the bathroom real quick, okay? And then we'll spend the last hour on Kafka. Right, be right back. Hey, if you enjoyed the content, I got more for you. It's on my second channel, which is Snack Markets. I'm trying to get as many subscribers as I could. Obviously, even though I got monetization, I'm trying to reach monetization with ads, so I'm trying to push it to 1,000 subscribers. We also got a Discord server. It is discord.gg/Foodshops. We have a pleasant community. It's strictly moderated. It is just about the most sane drama community that you can never be a part of. Now, you can also follow me on Kick. That's kick.com/Foodshops. I put all my VODs there. The VODs are not on YouTube. If you want to follow me on Twitter, you can find me at @NotFoodshops. Almost forgot one last thing. My online streaming thing really isn't possible without a large portion of my income coming from donations from people like you. If you would like to contribute, you can become a member or donate super chats and memberships during my streams. However, since YouTube takes 30% as a service fee, and you would like to maximize the money received for me, please donate on Kick, where Kick only takes 5% and I get 95%. You can even donate offline as well if you cannot catch up to the streams. Thank you for your support.
I want to address it head on because I don't want my stream, like I said, I haven't had an interest in this content for years. I don't want my whole stream to be like, well, here's what Jessica and all these people said about me today, so we're going to talk about blah, 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 right? So then if I like talk to somebody like Foodshops, or if I pop in every now and then, or if I just like chat with this person, then this is a person who can like talk, and then other people like kind of orbit them and like chat, and at least like in the Discords and everything,